Hello there! From behind the yellow line, this is Trammin episode 163. My name is Kirk, and today I'm joined by my friend, and he will tell me the location of the secret base, and then I will destroy him and the Resistance, Freddy Chambers.
Our Big Thunder topic of the week is Rise of the Resistance.
Freddy, the listeners have escaped.
How brave, but ultimately hopeless.
Hello, everyone. Welcome aboard Trammin, a Disneyland podcast. Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding. As a courtesy to other passengers, we ask that there be no eating, drinking, or smoking on board. In just a few moments, we will begin our trip into the Disneyland Resort news and topic of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, this tram is ready to depart. Driver, you are clear.
Welcome back to Trammin, everyone. Happy Wednesday. We are today's hosts, Kirk and Freddy. What's up, Freddy?
Hey, glad to be back.
Yeah, last time you were here was Star Wars Celebration last year, right?
Yes.
Did you end up going to this one, or you like?
No, yeah, I'm not flying all the way out to London for that, unfortunately.
Okay, yeah, it's okay. I think last year's was better, right?
It's just the type of thing that you have it localized. It's a lot easier for like local businesses, different Star Wars, people to kind of interact there.
Yeah, you gotta let Europe just have their fun every now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So if 1 week we can just tell you guys Rain will be back, blah blah blah. But then 2 weeks you guys might start worrying. Rain, I got permission to tell you guys, not that it's a big deal. He had tonsillitis, and he got it treated, and he was fine to like edit like he did that day and whatever, but he couldn't speak. Now he can speak, but the more he speaks, the more he coughs. So he decided, I begged him to stay. Like, it was his choice. He couldn't do it. So he will be back very soon. Hopefully, he should be back next week. But yeah, Rain is well. He's at work. He's going to edit the show. He's probably going to come pick up the cards. But he's good. But Freddy was going to be on anyway.
Yeah.
And so it just worked out. But yeah, he's in the seat. At the very least, you're not like Kimmy has sat there before. It's not like, how dare you sit where he sit or anything.
Oh my gosh.
Could you like, if you were the first person there, you're like, what's going on?
What's happening?
But they've been introduced to you and to other guests in the chair and other guests on the show, and there may be other guests on the show soon. But right now, let's find Lieutenant Beck with
Mousekeeping. If this is your first time here, welcome aboard Trammin, a Disneyland podcast where Kirk and Rain talk about the Disneyland Resort through and only through their eyes, sometimes with the help of their friends like me, Freddy. To catch up on jokes, references, context, and backstory, check out our lore page on trammin.com/lore. For our recommendations for Disneyland, DCA, and more, check out trammin.com/rex. For artwork to make your own Trammin merch, visit trammin.com/art, and that is for your personal use only. If you enjoy the show, like, subscribe, comment, and review us wherever you can, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, and my favorite, YouTubes.
That's Rain's favorite. Sorry, I was supposed to put Rain's favorite, YouTubes. Right. That's what he calls it.
Close enough. Right. For a visual guide of the show, follow at Trammin Podcast on Instagram. And to write into the show, head to trammin.com/ask. If you use Discord and would like access to our server, let us know. You can find all these links and lore on trammin.com.
Yes, you can. So, it's time for
Kev's Concoctions with Kirk and
Freddy. So, Kev, I know we've been promising my brother Kev is going to concoct things, his beers. It's been a little while, but he probably concocted these. So today we have the return of the Melon Cart, which is a watermelon wheat ale with notes of honeydew and cantaloupe. You're not allergic to those two things, are you? Some people are. So this is from Golden Road Brewing. I don't know if it's around at the moment, but let's crack open a cold one with the boys. So what are we cheersing to, Freddy?
New job. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a new job.
Yeah. To new jobs. Cheers. What do you think about this?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm getting that honeydew in there. That's great.
Yeah, it's nice, refreshing beer. Yeah, Mango Cart. Love Mango Cart, but it's been around the block. You know, it's been around. So yeah, thank you, Kev, for possibly brewing these and for just giving these to me. He just gave me some beers one day, and they're in the fridge for occasions like this. But it is time for Your Right, in which members of the Tram fam write in with corrections and comments, just like you can, at trammin.com/ask. Freddie, cue up that corrections music, please. So, Andrea writes in, Kirk, I agree. I've only had Jersey Mike's once, and it was a hot sandwich, and I hated it. Something about that cheese was nasty. So I'm a cold sandwich person at Jersey Mike's, and those are way better. How do you feel, Freddie? You go there ever?
I've never been to Jersey Mike's, so scratch me off that list.
Are you a deli person?
I definitely have visited delis before, but it's just not my like go-to in terms of getting lunch or something like that.
Yeah, I'm a big sandwich guy, so I go get their Club Supreme, which is like it's a club sandwich on a sub with they add roast beef to it.
Oh.
More meat, the better, right?
I love a good roast beef sandwich. That's good.
Yeah, they're good. I love their cold sandwiches, but yeah, their hot sandwiches, they put so much cheese. And like I just ate the grilled cheese burrito from Taco Bell. They cover it in cheese. But like something about the Jersey Mike's cheese is just sweet. And it's like, if I'm going to have sweet cheese, I'm going to have a cheesecake or something. So, yeah. So I actually wrote this in myself. So a couple weeks, if not last week ago, that's not real. Eduardo said something about liking Autopia or Asimo, but he hates Bird because Yo Soy Bird is like too much. And I'm like, what is he talking about? And as I will explain later, we went on Autopia this week, and Bird, the little bird, I knew it was him, is in the safety spiel, and he's like, hola, yo soy Bird, and like constantly. And I'm like, okay, I get that. And I don't even hear him in English, so.
It used to be much worse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the volume on Yo Soy Bird has been going down over time.
Okay, that's good. But yeah, I know what that is now. Thank you, Eduardo, for mentioning that a little while ago. Kevin writes in, I think the best drink in the parks has to be a tie between the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or Pim's Punch from Carthay Circle Restaurant. Shout out to Neverland Tea, though. I don't remember Pim's Punch. I'm pretty sure I've had it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is awesome. I think they shouldn't put ice in it, though.
Yeah, it's the whole thing, though, if you're trying to ice like a drink down. And it's chilled and all this stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if there's too much ice, then you're not like you're gonna get that drink down really quickly, and you're just left with second drink.
And I think it's pina colada like.
Yes.
So it's weird that there's ice in there to me.
It's already like kind of frozen.
Yeah, but not completely. So I think that's why they feel okay putting it. But yeah, but it is, I think, one of my favorite drinks. Besides Trader Sam's, what's your favorite drink in the parks?
I love getting an open ocean with a splash at Lamplight Lounge. I love Lamplight Lounge. It's perfect. But yeah, Trader Sam's is still kind of my preferred.
Yeah, you can't compete with it. That's why it's separate.
Well, it's just there's so many off menu, drinks, and depending on the bartender what they can make.
What's the non-whiskey drink? There's the two there's the King.
The King Kamehameha.
Yeah.
Yes.
And which one's that?
King Kamehameha, it's a rum-based beverage. It's very sweet, but it also has a lot of, I think it has some nutmeg in there or something like that. It's a spice.
But it tastes more like a drink than the Tiki room.
Yes,
rum.
very much so.
And then the other one's the Oa, right?
Oa, yes.
Yeah, that's the secret one, right?
No. Oa is the big one.
The Krakatoa something?
No, that's the Krakatoa's Punch.
What's this other secret one?
The other secret one that I really like, and this is like from the Adventurers Club that was in Florida, is the Old Kungaloosh. So Kungaloosh was the big catchphrase, Kungaloosh. Yeah. And so you would get this drink, and it would be like their drink of choice. And they can make it for you at Trader Sam's. There's the Old Kungaloosh and the New Kungaloosh, two completely different recipes.
So the Old Kungaloosh has the whiskey in it or the brandy?
I think
something
so.
And I know Brandy liked it when we met up with... When we met up with you and Matthew and decided to go to Trader Sam's 5 minutes before it closed.
Oh, yeah. We barely made it. And they just like waved us inside.
They're like, you're getting one drink in a plastic cup. I'm like, okay.
Fair. Yeah.
That's fine. Okay. So Eduardo does write in this week. Hey, Trammin. Food-wise, my bare necessity would be the Black Calf Cold Brew. To me, it's just at that sweet spot of sweetness and boldness. Some cold brews just taste like dirt. Says, haha, get it? I'm trying to get it. Just tastes like dirt? I don't know. I don't get this one.
No.
He says sorry, but I'm sorry. Explain it, because that's my bad. Anyways, and wow, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Outbreak. Hear me out. Escape the virus. Well, maybe not. Scratch that. And for the Jazz Kitchen, I think they refurbished it that way so it will blend in as the new mid-century concept that Downtown Disney will eventually look like. Oh, I just can't wait for my Portos. That's right. I'm claiming it. Okay. So this isn't in the news, but Jazz Kitchen Coastal Grill has been kind of revealed, right? Soft reveal.
Yeah,
it's open.
Soft opening.
Yeah, it doesn't look too great.
It's the general change of Downtown Disney from the sort of Eisner era. Every building has its own separate identity in the way that they kind of move about versus this homogenized look that they're going for. And there is a reason behind it. It's you go from the Disneyland Hotel and this whole mid-century modern design, and you're making your way all the way to California Adventure and the Grand. And so having that sort of connective thread through all the buildings of Californian traditional design in some way is kind of what they're going for. And Jazz Kitchen just blurted out as like, that doesn't fit what we're trying to do.
Yeah, the old one definitely did not fit. And I think the left side of this looks good above Jazz Kitchen Express. It's where they converted the New Orleans French Quarter awning type deal.
Yeah.
If anything, I know they just didn't want to do much, which is that's fine. But even a classic triangular canopy probably just sort of looked better. I know it loses even more character, but
they're trying so hard to have this like modernist take on the Jazz Kitchen, and like they're going to go through those different buildings. I'm wondering what's going to happen with like Tortilla Joe's and some of the other unique designs there. Do they keep them because they kind of blend with California, or is it sort of a, hey, no, we really want to go for this homogenized look?
I think Tortilla Joe's is clean enough to work. Maybe they'll paint it.
I wouldn't be surprised by that, but I don't know if it's going to be dramatic.
It's got like the clean trim around it. It's not like the whole. It doesn't look like terracotta or anything.
No,
It has a couple like little shingles maybe, but it's not like how Jazz Kitchen was just like, this is a saxophone that looks like Michael Eisner himself picked it out.
Yeah.
And I loved it, but it's like once World of Disney went, we kind of have to.
Yeah, there's this whole change that's taking place. It's just inevitable. I don't think Star Wars Launch Bay is going to live like in that current form. Like that real estate will get taken up eventually.
Yeah. So are they? We don't know anything for sure, but it sounded like Din Tai Fung was going to be ESPN Zone. I think they're going to kill it off and put it there.
I've heard that it's like it's the whole thing though of like who knows where it is.
Yeah,
like it's been there. It's been even taking up where they have the new the tavern and the whole.
They did say that's Portos.
Okay, that's Portos.
They did say it will be demolished and replaced with Portos.
So they're going to build a new building.
And my theory is that they will get rid of one or two ticket booths.
Ooh.
Because they do already rope off the farthest one and never use it. Mm-hmm. They push people to the phone more and more. Even when there's 1 million people, it's still 2 ticket booths. I think they'll just snatch one of those out of there.
Do you think they would do that or just use the ticket booth space for queuing?
Oh, queuing.
You're going to just use the existing switchbacks that they already have there for the ticket booths and just reverse the flow.
Maybe.
So it's for the restaurant.
Okay.
Because you're going to need it at least for the opening.
But here's my other theory, that they're not going to have the bakery. Like you're not going to be able to buy your birthday cake at Porto's Downtown Disney. So that's what most of the line is. So have you eaten at Porto's?
Never.
Okay, there's one in Buena Park.
Okay.
It's actually right down beach. It's delicious, of course. But there's an extremely long line for the bakery, but if you just want food, it's like a 10-minute wait, even at dinner. And you like walk in, you order, and then 10 minutes later, you get the food. And it's like full meal, 2 people. It's like less than $20. It's crazy.
That's the real question everyone's been asking. Can they keep the price down despite being in Downtown Disney?
Yeah, there's going to be they got to pay Disney. So,
yeah.
And I feel like it's, for sure they're paying rent, but I wonder if there's some sort of revenue or profit sharing.
I don't know.
Like
I don't know about that. But at least, they're definitely paying an increased rent. I don't know. Maybe a slight increase just for being in Downtown Disney, but I don't know if they're going to go too far away from that.
Okay. Porto's has low prices, but they don't talk like we're here for the people, and it's not like part of their brand.
Okay.
They just have low prices, right? So I'm wondering if they just themselves, like, we could squeeze a little bit more out of these people here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think prices, I don't know, but I mean, Earl Sandwich, those sandwiches are still $9.
Mhm.
It's crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, in the rest of downtown Disney, you can finally start seeing progress in that in the empty lot. So that's good.
Yeah.
Where the theater was.
But yeah, they are trying to match the mid-century thing. But the thing with mid-century is, like, if you don't go all in on it, it kind of looks like Jazz Kitchen. It doesn't look mid-century. It just kind of got the modern part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe there will be a flow. I don't know. But it did stick out. And I think it was kind of impractical, too, the design. So
For sure.
it is what it is. At least it's still there. I think the menu needed a shake-up anyway. It's kind of been the same thing forever. So we'll see. We'll see. It is open, but Express is not open yet. But it's coming. So Michelle C writes in, how's it going, Trammin? Sorry, I haven't been very active lately. I've been taking a break from podcasts. Plus, I didn't think I could contribute much since I haven't been there for about 7 years. I'll be catching up on all the missed episodes on my drive there on the 15th. My boyfriend and I can't wait to see what's in store and possibly gain 10 pounds from the food. Yeah, I already messaged back. I will be there on the 15th. It's not a meetup because that's my birthday, so... but I will, if anyone's there, I will come say hi to them because that's awesome, especially people who don't get down here that often. But yeah, Trammin.com/Rex. See what you should eat. Mike S writes in, hey, Trammin, for episode 156, you guys remember the 24-hour day that Disney hosted? If so, did you guys go? Thank you guys for all the entertainment and laughs I have each week listening. Also, how do I get access to the Discord? So let me go in reverse. For the Discord, there is a link on Trammin.com/ask to our Instagram where you could DM us. And if you are not on Instagram, there is a link to email us. So the thing with the Discord, if you just write into the form, we can't reply except telling you here. So send us an email. We'll just reply with a link and then you're in. Make an account first because that should help you. But yeah, that is all we have. Oh, wait, no, it's not. Wait, he asked about the 24-hour day. Freddie, you were ready to go. What's up?
Oh, yeah. I did not go to the first 24-hour day. I did go to the last one, the 60th anniversary one, and that was insane. Like being there super early in the morning and like the general, like just the crowds. Because this was the opening of the 60th anniversary. And they're like, we're just going to keep this thing open. We're going to do our new World of Color, our new fireworks. You know, we're going to do Paint the Night. And it was all premiering that one day.
Was that the one they kind of ran out of food a little bit?
I'm sure they did.
Like 3 a.m.-ish, not...
What I remember, about halfway through the day, I don't really remember most of it, but I remember being on the train at like 3 a.m., like riding the Disneyland Railroad, and we were all just lying down on the benches, just riding it, like lap after lap, like just
How long were you
sleeping.
there?
The whole time. We were there until it closed in the morning.
Oh my God.
We were there.
That's crazy. Yeah, I heard about it. I'm like, I'm not dealing with that. I'm okay.
Yeah, at a certain point, it reached capacity and they never really reopened it. So that's like everyone basically, it was like a lock-in. Like everyone who's in there, it's like, you're here. If you leave, you're gone. Like you can't come back in.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, and I don't know if Kimmy was part of this, but like they just drove around waiting for it to reopen because they just wouldn't let people in.
Yeah, it turned out that getting there early in the morning was the only way really to get in at all.
Yeah,
And then you couldn't park hop either. You were like stuck in your park.
Yeah, that's insane. And that was before the days of like, I mean, Disneyland's not fully at capacity, but they're sold out of reservations, right?
Yeah.
So this didn't happen often. Now, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, you're not getting in. But
Yeah, well, now you never see the issue where it's like the park has reached capacity and there's a line going from Disneyland all the way across to California Adventure.
and
Because I remember those days.
I mean, the parking lot doesn't close anymore either.
No.
I used to wait for the tweets. One of my friends was there around Christmas, but before, and he's like, you coming? I'm like, I'm coming as soon as there's parking. And it wasn't like, I don't want to park at Toy Story. It just said the Disneyland Resort parking is at capacity.
And that was the reason they had like Twitter to begin with, like Disney Parks is like, hey, we're full today. Please don't come.
Yeah, and now it's good enough where the cast members park on Daisy and they're still parking. So
Yeah. Well, and even late at night, I've seen where like they literally like we've gone there with friends and family and we're like, oh, we're just gonna come in for a few hours, and then it's like, oh, they're like not charging anybody anymore.
Oh, they've been
They just
doing-
leave it open.
they've been doing that for like 10 years.
Wild.
It's when you come in like 8 or 9 usually. It's just like they wave you through. They don't
Yeah.
care.
There's no point at that, you know.
Yeah.
You're not coming for fireworks. You're not coming for the night shows, so you're not going to impact them that way.
Yeah. So yeah, Yeah, I have not gone, and I would not go. I don't need that.
They're never going to do a 24-hour event again.
No, they know that was
will
hell.
never do that again.
Yeah, I'm surprised they did it twice. But I think they're like, we can do it.
We survived the first one. We could try again.
Yeah. No thanks. But yeah, that was a wild time. A good time. Let's get in some news. Got some headlines for you guys. First up, Peter Pan and Wendy and Alice and J. Thaddeus Toad Esquire. As reported by Scott Gustin, Peter Pan's Flight, Alice in Wonderland, and Mr. Toad's Wild Ride will be closed for refurbishment starting June 5th with no announced reopening date. They are all located in the same building. I've heard rumors this may be rain damage on the roof or otherwise. I don't know. Do you have any insight on this?
I just think it's like
They got
any other refurb. Like eventually you have to run into this. I don't remember the last time that these attractions went down for refurb, but it's been a while.
I mean, they've done I've never heard of all three of them at the same time. That's why there's the building rumors.
Well, and that just makes sense to me though, of like, well, one's down, like we might as well do all of them because they are like all connected. Like one room in one dark ride is on top of the other. It's like,
Alice goes on top of Toad kind of, right?
Yes. And so if you're going to do one, you might as well do all of them. It's just cheaper to do it that way, I guess.
Yeah, you just close everything and, if you got to bust down a wall.
But it really makes me wonder if they're finally going to change Peter Pan just a little bit. Like if they are finally going to change the Indian scene in the attraction. Because that's been like a question for a while. They did a video ride through on the park's YouTube page once, and they literally threw tarps like for the video. They like blocked out Tiger Lily and the Indian Village, and it's like, are we just dancing around this? But the ride's still here. Like I'm just wondering. It's been one of those things with the general, going through the parks and changing up attractions that you're like, this seems like the easiest, the cheapest thing to do, like whatever adjustment they want to make, but.
Do you think they would remove them or make them look a little less like caricatures?
I don't know. I don't know
they're
what the best
painted
option
orange,
is,
right?
Because I think it's problematic either. Like there's problematic elements of both.
Yeah.
Like you taking them out and it's like, well, now we're removing any representation versus it's bad representation.
Because they can't go realistic because it's Peter Pan, right? But then like they didn't remove Native Americans from the rivers of America. They just gave them a true. Well, I mean. I don't think that area was that bad, right?
It was never really that
because I've seen the whole like the Walt Disney Native American stuff.
Yeah.
They used to, he wore the thing, but like he used to hire Native Americans to tell stories and stuff.
They had a tribe that was employed at the resort as part of the resort's entertainment.
Yeah, so I know Disney has done a lot of weird things. I think a lot of, let's put Peter Pan aside, but at least like the Native American stuff in the parks. I feel like a lot of it is probably more misunderstanding because they had the understanding to have the tribe there. Yeah. So it's like they knew, hey, we shouldn't dress up as them. We just have them come here. Yeah. But then, I don't know. But
in the end, I think it's maybe you do make that decision of just like, hey, like let's just not have them painted bright red. In an allusion to the terrible racist song in the film. I mean, they did just release Peter Pan and Wendy on Disney Plus. I have not had time to watch it. Yeah, it's out. Oh. Yeah. I mean, it was his name's David Lowery. He did Pete's Dragon and he did The Green Knight, which The Green Knight was fantastic. Pete's Dragon 2. And I've heard like good reviews and bad reviews about this, so I'll still end up watching it. But in that film, they do have Tiger Lily in there and like a sort of redeeming way from the animated film. So it's like it's not like you want to just rip that element out, but maybe it is a like, hey, we're just repainting it so it's not a direct problematic thing. Like in the ride, maybe you're even removing the song, like even if it's just the drum beats, an allusion to the song, you just taking that out.
Yeah, it could be. I think that would be okay. Like, cause if it does get weird where the Simpsons tried to remove Apu, is that his name? And then the Indians were like, wait, he's like a small business owner or whatever. We just don't want this guy voicing him.
It's the same. Yeah. You start getting in conversations too of, an example is the Three Caballeros, where in the early debates of how do we do inclusion in the theme parks, it's like the Three Caballeros, like, is this like problematic? And it's like, yeah, no, they've been adopted. Like, for the most part, it's like they are adopted characters of like, yeah, sure, they can be caricature-ish, but in some way they've become like, this was the only representation we've had. And so we're going to embrace that. And so it's like, you're not going to take that away. Like, it might have been problematic at the time, but now it's been like adopted. And it's a weird conversation, but it's like, you can't remove things outright. It doesn't end well.
Yeah, it does feel like finally we've gotten to a point of nuance.
Yeah.
We were at a point where it's just like, we're not even thinking about it. Goodbye. And it's like, hey, how about it's what people wanted. Have a conversation.
Yeah.
Figure out what's good instead of just like, you hated this thing, even though you didn't tell us that. And it was probably bad, but now it's gone and now no one gets to be part of the conversation.
Yeah. I think the simplest thing is purely just, hey, nuanced conversation. It isn't the main core of the ride. That's not the main point. So it's not you're hyper fixating it. It's one small element to the attraction. So in the end, it doesn't overall like create the mightiness where it's like, we need to get rid of this whole thing. No.
Yeah, I did see this thing. I know this is a little bit irrelevant, but like some people started bringing up the Jeep Grand Cherokee. And like a spokesman for the Cherokee tribe was like, we don't really care. It's just the name of a car. It's not like they have some fake chief in their ad saying like, buy this car. And it's like it's just the name. They're like, it doesn't really, we don't really care.
It would be great if we had royalties to our tribe's name, but
they're kind of like, that one doesn't really matter. It's not the Washington football team.
No, that was different. Yeah.
But then there's, the people who aren't paying attention to stuff. They came after the Chicago Blackhawks, but they're actually named after a specific man who was Native American, and they partner with the tribe yearly and do events with them. And it's like,
if you don't do your, like, you're not doing your due diligence and you're just getting, you're just getting angry because you saw a clickbait article online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all we're saying is, it's just look into things before you get mad. Yeah. And if hey, some things totally worth getting mad about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, painting people red. Yeah. So anyways,
we got really far away from it's a refurbishment. So we'll see them eventually.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Anyways, next headline, part of our world. Live action Ariel will be making special appearances at Disneyland and other Disney parks around the world along the promenade near It's a Small World, according to Disney Parks blog. Disney says they are excited for fans to enjoy meeting Ariel from both the animated and live action stories at Disney parks.
Yeah.
So that is cool. It says special appearances, so you never know who you're going to get on each day. And I think it's a little different because it is two different characters, but kind of like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
You kind of get whoever's playing Santa Claus or is friends with Santa Claus. Whatever.
There you go.
Yeah. So Ariel's Ariel. It is still land Ariel.
Mm-hmm. And they showed a particular like shot from the film where it's like her in her like village dress, like they're going out and visiting. It's like her and Prince Eric. And I would not be surprised if like this is the promotional image you're using. That's probably what the costumes are. Which makes it a lot more like subtle and in the background and not like blatantly obvious, like we're trying to draw too much attention. Because I think they are worried about the general reception, just from particular audience members. But I'm really excited about this. And especially like the way that you're introducing this, like you have a dedicated area by Small World, you have this dedicated space where it's like, cool, we're putting this in here. We're already seeing with just the general reaction to like all the books and merchandise, just people being seen. And it's really cool that it's just like Tiana is not the only Black Disney princess anymore.
Yeah.
That's great. Like
the only thing I found weird was now some of the merch is cartoon versions of the live action.
Yeah.
Like not just her, like Flounder and I was gonna call him Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs.
Sebastian. It's just like, oh, we've gone full circle, which is cool.
Yeah.
And but it is, it's just funny to see like the cartoon version of the live action. But yeah, this is cool. Now I vote that animated Ariel gets the pink dress. Ooh. Like when she's combing her hair with the fork and all that, because she's kind of just is she in that dress in the movie or is it just a princess dress?
She is like I don't know
the
yet.
Blue dress. No. Like in the animated.
Yeah.
Does she ever wear the blue dress that she wears at the parks?
Oh, she wears the pink dress.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if she does.
Is it just like,
I haven't watched The Little Mermaid in a long time.
I think I have, and I don't remember that. I could be wrong. You guys could correct me that, I'm sure. But yeah, they should put in that cool pink dress. Yeah. Then you have even like you've refreshed the whole thing.
Mhm.
And instead of like this blue dress Ariel looks different from this blue dress Ariel, now it's just like, now you're just getting two completely different,
Mhm.
you know.
Well, and I like to view it the same way that you do like the Broadway reinterpretations or anything else, that you are viewing a reinterpretation of this story that you've traditionally seen. And it really doesn't matter who's playing any of these characters. You're just in the middle of this story, and it's all about who's singing and their acting and the way that they're emotionally portraying that story, and can you connect to it?
Yeah.
And it's just cool to kind of see that they're leaning into it. There's a lot of merchandise out there and people are buying it. So it's like, it is working. Like it's hitting.
Yeah, I did think it was really cute. I was in World of Disney, and there's like, you know, the two child mannequins, and they were both different tones of dark skin.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really cool, because
Mhm.
that's kind of, it's not just for them, but it's like, hey, now we just have everyone here,
Yeah.
and that's awesome for us as like humanity,
Mhm.
and you know, why everyone does everything. It's awesome for money because everyone's money is green, and you should just, if you represent everyone, everyone's here for you.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and the
here for
way
your
I
stuff.
see it in general of like, if you're able to see yourself, like even thinking back to when I was a kid, if you're able to see yourself in one location, like at Disneyland, like you're like, okay, this is one place that like I feel seen. I feel like I can identify with this, or this is what gets me excited. This is what I want to be when I grow up. You can see yourself everywhere. That the whole park itself becomes more of a playground because you can see yourself reflected in it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like what you want to see. You want to be able to have kids of any race, any identity come to the parks and feel seen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Disneyland's for everyone,
Oh yeah.
right? And there was, like I've said before, only reason I'm not excited for Little Mermaid is because it's a live action remake. I'm just like, I don't know. If everyone tells me it's wonderful, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard of a wonderful live action remake in a while.
Oh yeah.
That's the problem. And I think I said this a while ago. Like, if you're gonna do this, like, and you want to, it's not just providing representation. Provide good representation. Give them a good movie. Give the represented people a good movie, not them. Like,
Well, and I even feel like when you're watching, like something like the Lion King live action reboot, not the best thing ever, but it still made $1 billion at the box office. People still went to go see it,
yeah.
and so it's like whether this thing is fantastic or not, people are still going to go see it because
Yeah.
The Little Mermaid. At the end of the day, it's an iconic franchise. It's something that people are going to go see, even if you just like listen to the little bit of music that they put. Like the music's fantastic. Like they got people who can sing.
Yeah, that's
That's
important.
like kind of a key versus like all I remember about the Beauty and the Beast live action was the auto tune. That's all I remember about that movie was how terrible and obvious the auto tuning was. And there's no auto tuning, as far as I can hear, going on in this soundtrack.
Well, something I learned about auto tune, everything's auto tuned, but what happens is if you're a little flat, you just bring it up to the note. Like you're not supposed to be flat. If you're a little sharp, you could bring it like little half step, half note up, even sometimes like the next note. But that T-Pain sound comes from when you're stretching across like 2-3 notes. It can only do so much, and you can only hide it so much. So it's just kind of like, instead of you were a little off and we tweaked it, it's, you know, this ridiculous thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think from the beginning, the fact that they cast Halle Bailey, I think is how you pronounce her name, the fact that you cast a singer in the role immediately blends to, okay, we're actually trying to do like a musical here. Like we're actually trying to do something right versus just stunt casting of we want X celebrity to play role, you know?
Yeah. So I don't know anything about her, so I can't comment on that. I just think Javier Bardem's an awesome,
Oh, fantastic.
awesome casting.
Yes.
I haven't even seen the trailer, and I'm like, I saw the picture, I'm like, I'm in.
He's fantastic in the trailer.
He's fantastic in everything, really.
It's perfect casting.
Yeah. Okay. That's a real daddy Triton right there. All right, next headline. Not to worry, we're still flying half a foodie guide. So the Disney Eats Foodie Guide to Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month 2023 is out on the Disney Eats page of the Disney Parks blog. So they did kind of allude to most of these things are in the parks. So here's how you can celebrate this month. But there are 3 new items, which is why we're calling this a half a foodie guide. So we'll call those out. First up is the sweet Thai chili, I don't know, chicken tenders. Chicken tenders tossed in sweet Thai chili sauce and slaw with crushed almonds, mandarin orange segments, crispy noodles, and citrus vinaigrette served with fries, topped with cheese sauce. This is the item everyone says looks delicious, and I think it does.
Mm-hmm.
I like a good covered chicken tender. I love my Chipotle honey barbecue chicken crispers from Chili's, which I never go to. But yeah, this looks good. Galactic Grill has a bacon and slaw burger, which is a 1/3 Angus patty, marinated pork belly, American cheese, Asian-inspired slaw, and sambal sweet mayo on a toasted brioche bun. That's available starting May 12th. The sweet Thai chili chicken, that's Paradise Garden Grill, May 2nd. So this sounds good, but I don't know. It's Galactic Grill burger.
Yeah, Galactic Grill, you always, like, you know what you're going to get, and that does not, it's not going to wow you.
No. Next up, at Grand California Hotel Craftsman Grill, starting May 9th, mobile order available. Oh, the grill. This is the whitewater snacks. The poke bowl, which I believe I've had before. Choice of sushi-grade salmon or tuna, tossed in citrus ponzu with cucumber, edamame, avocado, crab salad, green onions, radicchio, pickled seaweed, furikake, and spicy aioli with choice of calrose rice or mixed greens. Their poke bowls are pretty decent over there, I will say. But they always have like more interesting food there. So, but there are a ton of items in the foodie guide of just, you want to try a little bit of Asian inspired food, go ahead. I recommend the bulgogi beef burrito and the Impossible Banh Mi from Lucky Fortune Cookery, which will be sticking around through San Francisco Square. So, yeah, but there are a lot of items. Go check them out. But it is Star Wars month.
Oh, yeah.
So there's always a bigger foodie guide. The Disney Eats Foodie Guide to May the 4th Galactic Goodies. At Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo. 3 new items. Temple root leaf and moss salad with seasoned guayo egg, which is a sweet savory salad greens, brined vegetables, roasted mushrooms, fried potato noodles, and soy marinated soft boiled egg. I love soft boiled eggs. This looks good, but I'm going to say this now. I believe is it May 2nd now? Is today May 2nd? Yes, it is. Did we lose the braised beef bantha?
Ooh.
That thing is delicious. It's been my favorite item there, and I just want to see if it's still on the menu.
I bet it still is, just from these are seasonal.
That is seasonal. It's been seasonal for 6 months.
Oh, no.
So the dewback noodles that I asked you about were seasonal, and they were around for like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
But these bantha things, it is just bantha, I guess. It's beef. Has been around. Come on. It does the weird oh, okay. Come on. Confirm my arrival window. Oh, it's Star Wars night. That's why.
Oh, that'll make it weird.
Yeah, they don't have anything right now. So let me just hit view menu because.
Yeah.
Oh, they still have the Trandoshan style pasta. All right. Wait. Acid spinner orb. Yob shrimp. Oh, okay. This is very strange, but as of right now, the bantha's on the menu.
All right.
Okay. Next, temple root leaf and moss salad, basically without the egg. It's plant-based. So they just have both. You can get it with or without the egg. And the light up acid spitter orb with lanyard, and you get a fountain beverage at time of purchase. Limit 5 per person. What's up with, that's not really a limit. But no one's buying this. It doesn't really matter.
I feel like that's encouragement. Please buy it. Please take as many of these.
Yeah.
Haven't they had the acid spitters around, actually?
Yeah, I think.
I think this might be new, like slightly a new coloring of it, but it's the same thing that they've had before.
Yeah. So available while supplies last, beginning May 3rd. But it's, it is available now because it's Star Wars night.
Yeah.
Galactic Grill has the Darth by Chocolate, which is returning, but only May 2nd through 6th. But they do have another parfait without the Darth Vader on top. That's the same thing. So it's just sticking around. But they have the new Grogu sipper.
Yeah. Did you see the video of this that they put out there?
I actually pasted the photo. Yeah, so is it this one?
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, where he's holding the little like soup cup,
Yeah.
like he does. You know, he's drinking the tea. You know, and the way they did a TikTok of it, the parks blog, and it's like somebody walking up and they have like dark Sith robes on and they reveal it to the Mandalorian theme. From under the robes, there's Grogu there like holding the bowl, and I was just like, wow, okay, yeah, you're gonna see people doing that in the parks.
Yeah, and yeah, the whole Grogu thing I think has become a little heavy-handed. Have you caught up with the show?
Yes. Very much so.
No spoilers. Just him when he was spinning around in the chair. I'm like, you guys, you got to pull back a little bit because don't run it into the ground.
You're already at that point. You're at frozen fever point.
Yeah,
You know?
I just think like I thought he was really cute, and then they keep pushing it. I'm like, you can't tell me he's cute because once you become self-aware of the cuteness,
Yeah.
it's not as cute.
No.
It's cute because he's a silly little thing. Now it's like, hey, look at this cute scene.
Mhm.
Okay, but I still like him. I still like Mando.
Yeah.
All right, at Katsaka's Kettle, the new Surabat Valley Mix Sweet Kettle Corn, also available with Furikake, available starting May 2nd. Now look this up. Surabat River Valley is on Batu.
Yes.
That is all I know about it, and I'm sure it's in that book I haven't read, but. Yeah, that's all. That's all I know. But I do know Niamos Mix, savory sour cream and chive popcorn, available with Furikake. Niamos is where, not really spoiler, Cassian Andor spend some time on the tropical planet of Niamos.
Yeah.
So, favorite song in that series.
You know, there's just one line. I'm a tourist. I'm a tourist, and he says it over and over again. And I have seen guests wearing T-shirts in the Andor font that just says, "I am a tourist," and I'm like, that's what you need to wear when you're in Galaxy's Edge. That's perfect.
Yeah. So I'll probably try both of these. I love kettle corn.
Oh yeah, that kettle corn mix, like that's an immediate like buy for me.
I would get the sour cream and chive with furikake, but I wouldn't get it on kettle corn. Kettle corn, it's a specific thing. I don't need furikake is seaweed, sesame, and a couple other spices, which is great, but I don't know. And they have the jelly fruit muffin, passion fruit buttermilk muffin with pineapple and blackberry jam. I don't know. Could be good, but I'm a double, triple chocolate chip muffin kind of person.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I like that Katsaka's Kettle has all these random things.
Well, and I feel like it's such an overlooked location. It's like you have to give us a reason to go.
You know what their problem is? Everything has been better than Outpost Mix.
Yeah.
Outpost Mix was cool halfway through the first bag when it tasted like Fruit Loops, and then it just was kind of like, all right, you got anything else? Even the banana chocolate was decent. I don't think I had the cheese. The chocolate with crate salt is so good that they sell it at Jatka's Coolers, the 3 different vendor carts. Yep. So that's probably my favorite.
And I don't know if they cleared up if that's sticking around, but I bet it is because it's still so popular.
Yeah, and it's bagged, so they don't it doesn't really matter to them.
Make the whole batch and then just sell it throughout the day.
Yeah. And chocolate and salt, it's not like they need some weird ingredients in it.
Yeah.
The milk stand has the Tenu Swirl Crunchies cereal, blue milk topped with strawberry and grape candy pebbles. So this is a blue milk with nerds on it, it looks like.
Yes.
Now, have you read this before? When I read Tenu Swirl Crunchy cereal, I got really excited.
Yeah.
Do you know why I got really excited?
No.
I thought this was the cereal that Cyril eats in Andor.
Oh,
he eats the cereal with the blue milk.
The blue milk, yeah.
And that's obvious. That's real cereal, right? Like,
cornflakes.
No, they were the round ones. Here, let me just look up Andor cereal. It looked like Crunch Berries. So, yeah.
Then it's alluding to that. It's alluding to that without. Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Like they didn't make that on set. That's out of the Cocoa Puffs factory. So,
yeah. Oh, that's sad.
Oh, I see it. They are blue pieces from the 2020 limited edition Trolls World Tour Tricks.
I love that somebody found that out.
Oh, someone must. Yeah, okay. So they got this whole mix of tricks and picked out these. I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but they picked out
from the bowl, from
the
all the
bowl.
colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe 20% of the bag. That probably took several boxes of cereal.
They could have totally. I mean, not enough people are going to order it for it to matter, but
No.
I would have. That would have been way more exciting than Nerds. They got to do something.
Yeah, but I am more excited about this than the Mon Calamari thing that they were doing before, like with the weird swirl and everything like that. It had weird consistency.
Okay, not the Toydaria one, right? That's the green milk.
Was that?
So
It was the mixed thing with the
Mon
serpent.
Cala mix or something.
That's what it is. Yeah.
That's got the boba, the popping boba.
Yeah.
I just stayed away from that and mango.
Yeah.
The Toydaria swirl is good minus the mango chunks that honestly give me the vomit texture.
Oh yeah.
But the tahini and stuff. But I'm a blue milk purist. I love blue milk.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll try this. Why not? Have
And
some
the
fun.
Nerds, the sour, the whole, yeah.
Yeah.
I
What-
can get that vibe.
What looks like is not back is that cookie that would sell out by 9:30 a.m.
Oh goodness.
The
me.
sand cookie or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, wasn't it the bread that Ray makes?
Oh, that's there now. Yeah,
Okay,
I
that's
did
there, yeah.
try that.
I
and,
need to try that. How
and
was that?
I'll just say it now. It looks like a concha or pan dulce, but it's kind of like a croissant. But it
Huh.
has this buttery sweet filling and that crisp on top. And it is actually closer to this Armenian dessert called gata. And it's there's a variant called nazuk where they put nuts, but the words are interchangeable. But it's basically you get this pastry made with a ton of butter and you put like the sweet stuff in it and you roll it up. This isn't rolled. And you put crispy sugar on the side, you bake it, but it tastes kind of like that. A little bit like it's not as fake tasting as a concha, and it's a lot denser. It does taste like a not cheesy but not creamy, like this a dense.
Yeah.
There's probably condensed milk in it or something, but it is good, and it has like a nice fluffiness to it and the nice crisp. So I do recommend it. I love it. I just love chocolate desserts, but yeah, the polystarch bread.
I
is
just
pretty
love that they're selling like I remember that from the Force Awakens. Of like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
I
as
want
soon
that.
as someone said Ray makes, I'm like, yeah. And it looks funky enough to sell there.
Yeah.
It's not like a cookie.
It makes me wish that they had like a little screen where they're showing like the bread like rising out of whatever it is, so they can make
Yeah,
it.
they like kind of like Pims. Where you see the
yeah.
pretzels being made. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah, I'll tell a little story about that later, but I do recommend that, and I'm gonna try this. Oga's Cantina has the 5 Blossom bread with mustard cream. Did this ever go away?
It never did officially, but it started last May the 4th.
Yeah.
I feel like it started last Star Wars Day, Star Wars Nights, and it's just continued.
Yeah, and it was
forward.
like, oh, Oga's birthday, and
Yeah, they kind of like found ways to just keep it there because finally there was something to eat in the cantina, and that was the problem of like you go in there and it was just drinks, and then they had like the tiny mix.
like charcuterie, which is
Yeah,
charcuterie.
no.
Yeah, this is a warm pretzel knot with a new, I don't know, creamy honey mustard dip. It is a honey mustard, but it has that like mustard kick to it.
I actually wonder if that.
Oh,
is-
if it is
if
a little
it's
different.
slightly or like they, it's the same general idea, but they're just going for a different sauce because that was the one complaint that people had. I like the sauce that they had. It
It's
was-
almost got that horseradishy tingle,
yes,
which I love.
yeah.
But yeah, maybe it is a little different. But I've recommended this to everyone who goes to Oga's, and they get like 2 orders of it because it's so good.
Easily, yeah.
It's fresh. It's hot.
It gives
It's
you a reason to actually like stick around in the canteen instead of just wrapping up your drinks as fast as possible and getting out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do highly recommend this, but they do also have the ginger lime tea lemonade with soju, just soju Minute Maid lemonade, Gold Peak unsweetened iced tea, habanero lime and ginger flavors topped with matcha foam. Rain will probably try this. I don't like spicy in the drinks, but a lot of drinks that say they're spicy these days are covered with everything else, and they're not. They just looks really cool to say habanero, but if I find my way in there, I'll try it. These are May 2nd through August 31st at Oga's. And the Tenu Swirl, I feel like that is replacing the Moncala and will just stay around until they get bored of it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have an end date. So I think they'll just leave it until they decide to do something else.
Yeah. It should do better. I feel like this is going to do better with just general guests than the last thing did. Because the amount of times that you just see blue or green milk getting tossed anyway, you're like, you got to give people a reason to like actually enjoy the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is I always tell people take 2 sips.
Yeah.
The blue milk, it hits weird the first time, second sip better. And it once you leave Galaxy's Edge, it doesn't taste as good either. So
No, yeah. You have to enjoy it in the place it was designed to be enjoyed.
Yeah. And Ronto Roasters has that acid orb sipper. The beverage carts have the return of the Galma garlic puffs, which are puff cheese chips with lots of garlic, but pretty good. The fruit cart, churro cart, and lemonade cart in Tomorrowland have the Grogu sipper. Marceline's Confectionery has a Grogu candy apple, which has caramel, marshmallow ears, and gold sanding sugar on the white chocolate. Hearthstone Lounge has a ginger daiquiri, which is El Dorado rum, sherry, velvet falernum, ginger syrup, and lime juice garnished with mint. And the Grand Californian Hotel lobby cart has Star Wars sugar cookie, Wookiee cookie, pretzel lightsabers, Falcon lollipop, Stormtrooper crisp rice treat, tropical whoopie pie, and a Galaxy macaron box. And at the sold out Disneyland After Dark Star Wars Night, there is the Mos Eisley Spaceport cookies at Harbor Galley, Galactic Princess Sundae at Gibson Girl, which looks awesome.
That looks amazing. Yeah. I mean, it's the whole thing of it's cinnamon, it's her Cinnabon hair, and now it's like,
yeah, that looks like good job.
Yeah.
The Mossy Mint Churro in Frontierland, the Harissa Tip Yip Bowl at Red Rose Tavern. Tip Yip is their word for chicken. And corned shock loaded fries at Hungry Bear Restaurant. But this event is sold out.
So sad.
Freddie, what is missing? Do you know what is missing from all of the Star Wars offerings?
No.
It's only at Walt Disney World this year. The lightsaber churros.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Because they always have the stupid red and blue ones that don't taste any different, but everyone waits in line.
They have the little cardboard holder that makes it look like a lightsaber. It's just for the Instagram. That's it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's still fun for people.
Yeah.
Totally. But it's not there. Weird. Maybe it is, and they didn't put it in here. We always will say, like, come on, Nicole, because it's always written by Nicole Cantori, who Rain reached out to try to get on the podcast. I don't know if she even saw it, but shout out. She does all the foodie guides. Oh, she's in Florida, too. So, well, soon they will all be there. Where is that place? Lake
Nona, yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck out there.
Yeah, seriously. But this here's our Big Thunder topic of the week. Rise of the Resistance. So, Freddie, before we speak of our thoughts about the ride, we've been doing this thing that we love, where we read what the Disneyland website has to say, all the copywriting. And it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So let's head over there. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. Join the Resistance in an epic battle against the First Order on this exciting ride. 40 inches or taller. It's 102 centimeters. Kids, tweens, teens, and adults are who this is for. So everyone at that height. And it features, they say right here, small drops, thrill rides, dark, loud, scary. So in case you haven't realized, we are going to spoil this ride. You should be, if you're listening, you've probably been on it.
Yeah.
If not, you're going soon and, come back, but it's whatever. So the website continues, an attraction on a scale that is impressive. Most impressive. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance is a massive attraction with multiple ride systems that is unlike anything you've ever experienced at the Disneyland Resort or anywhere else in the galaxy. I think that is 100% true.
Oh, yeah.
This is unless Florida, but completely unique. Freddie, have you seen the website page for this?
No, not recently.
So let me just, because that thing's slow, let me look up Disneyland Rise of the Resistance. They have a video that plays.
Really?
It's like a moving background, but it is a recorded video in which you guys should all check this out. There is a real Kylo Ren in this detainment chamber. And then it continues. He's got a real lightsaber. That's the ride. Those are way better effects. Those are stormtroopers, just straight up. And those are probably real sparks. I don't know. And there's a real lightsaber coming through the ceiling over there. And I wouldn't say that's false advertising, but
yeah, the Galaxy's Edge advertisements and everything. They had a lot of budget put in there to just shock value. Like, look at this thing. Can't you, aren't you excited to see it in real life?
Yeah, when I saw the lightsaber, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
I wish. But the effects are pretty good, and we'll get to those.
Oh, yeah. No, it's an amazing commercial. And it definitely sells the idea of oh, man, we're going to do this. It's that false advertising aspect of instead of Rey giving you the hologram, it's actually Vi. So then Vi makes more sense than Land if Vi was doing that. But still, they definitely, it's did you make this completely separate of the attraction? Did you guys talk at all about this, or just this is going to look so cool, let's just do this?
Well, I think it's two things. One, maybe the movies, they just give it to a trailer house and make something. They don't really know what's going on. And two, Vi has the Star Wars problem of it's in the companion novel.
It's in the book based on the land.
Yeah, and that most people don't know exists. They sell it not in the land, but
Star Trader.
Star Trader.
Yeah,
but I don't see Vi anymore.
She's still around. I've seen her a lot. Yeah,
actually, a lot of the characters come around lunchtime, and I'm just not there. So
it is a timing thing. Yeah.
But I did see her at the previews and stuff, and she was cool. But I think it's just people don't know.
Yeah, I almost wish that commercial just didn't do as much of let's make this look as good as possible, because then by comparison, it's WDI is trying to pull off a lot of effects here, and your CG perfect rendering of a lightsaber is not going to be the same as their practical application trying to create a lightsaber that looks real.
Yeah, what I do find cool about just this new world we're in video game adaptations and whatever, is 3D models are interchangeable between different programs, or exportable and all that stuff. So it's just hey, can we just borrow the lightsaber more? I mean, I'm sure they just had ILM just make this 5-second trailer or add the effects, but it's we just pull that up. It's not this crazy effect we recorded on film and then modified. It's hey, we got the files.
Yeah, but still, it's interesting to look at that and this is the idealized, if you were in the movie, this is what it would look like. Yeah. And then you go on the actual experience and you're oh, this is pretty close actually. For as much as this is a stylized, idealized version of the attraction, they still get really close.
And probably people who aren't us, go on and they're just amazed. They're not going to
tell the difference.
How did they do that? They don't care. They're just enjoying it, which better for them, right?
Still.
Yeah. And so it continues once again. Accept a mission from the Resistance. The Resistance needs your help. Hidden in the forest outside Blackspire Outpost, the Resistance is gathering recruits for a secret mission. With the First Order desperate to extinguish the spark of the Resistance, the mission is bound to have unexpected twists and turns. When your transport is captured by an imposing First Order Star Destroyer filled with legions of stormtroopers and even Kylo Ren, you're going to need all the help you can get. Fortunately, a covert team of Resistance fighters, including Rey and BB-8, is at the ready to give you a fighting chance to escape and a chance for the Resistance to rise. Prepare for a thrilling, first-of-its-kind adventure, and know before you go, looking for shorter wait times to experience this attraction, you may be able to purchase individual or a la carte Lightning Lane entries. So we can kind of get into the story here.
Yeah.
Now that we have this. Is Galaxy's Edge meant to be experienced from that side first? Because you're kind of landing Batuu at the end, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it works both ways. Of either you're in the outpost and you're kind of oh man, there's this ancient ruins thing and it's spray painted the Resistance is over here. And then you see Vi, snooping around the outpost and you're what's going on out here? And so then you go into the ancient ruins, you go out into the outskirts of the outpost and find the Resistance base. Or you have that whole thing where you're here on Batuu and then you just run into the Resistance. Now we're going to go on our mission and then we crash land. Either way, it's sort of a choose your own adventure. So I don't think there's a way that it's meant to be this way, but I think either way that you experience Rise of the Resistance, it changes your perspective on the outpost. Because whether Kylo Ren's there ahead of time, and then you're oh man, we got to get out of here, Batuu is no longer safe. The First Order is here now. Because that's the inciting incident. It's the First Order's there, so we have to get out of here. And then, oh no, here comes the Star Destroyer, and now, oh no, we have to go back down to Batuu. And now Kylo Ren's looking for Resistance sympathizers because of what happened on Rise. So it like works either way.
Yeah, and I'm sure this has helped a little bit by Datapad, but a lot of
Mhm.
people, they're first getting introduced to it now. When they get their magic bands, they're kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
Datapad, there's a whole thing here. I used it when Galaxy Edge first opened, and it was just a little rough.
Oh yeah.
It still kind of is. Like the whole thing looks blurry almost. I
Mhm.
think, I know everyone hates extra apps, but no one's really using Play Disney. I think the Datapad should have been its own app.
Yeah.
And just develop it on its own, let it run its own thing real smooth, have its own Magic Band connection. But yeah, so the funny thing about the story, you meet Rey in the queue, which the queue goes through these caverns, and I almost like don't know what the standby entrance looks like because you just kind of walk past it, or you just walk through the lightning lane. And I think maybe that's the point. It's just this unassuming, it's an outpost, right?
Mhm.
Or the old outpost, as they call it.
Yeah, it's these ancient ruins. You see stairs. You see like the way things are designed, where it's like it's rock work, but it's also maybe not. Like maybe it was shaped at one
Yeah.
point, but it's fallen into disrepair. It really feels similar. It's a Star Wars version of like Indiana Jones Adventure in that way.
Yeah, once you get past the waterfall, I'd say when you're
Yeah.
really in there, you see the guns that are. I laugh at how they're welded on. They're not. They have places where they're supposed to hang, but they just kind of float there because they're welded in a different place. And maybe if I think I have pictures of it that I'll post this week. But it is a cool little. It makes the hour that you're stuck in the queue, if you ever are, not too bad because
Yeah.
it's a lot of interesting. Like it's really cool to be in there.
Mhm.
But by the time you get to the end, you see the suits and everything, and you hit Rey. I almost kind of like Rey's words just kind of wash over me. Like I'm just kind of like, okay, like
Whatever. Yeah, we're
yeah,
going.
it's. If you've seen there's this guy who makes reels, but probably TikToks, I don't know, about every Universal Studios like ride intro. It's like we got to get into the thing. It's up to you to do it and whatever. And it kind of feels a little bit like that. And I think BB-8 uses more or less the same system as Rocket in
Yeah, in Mission Breakout.
Mission Breakout. The underneath is hidden. He kind of rolls around. The thing is, BB-8's real interesting, but you don't understand. What is it? Binary is what
Yeah.
droids speak.
What are you saying?
And Rocket is the narrator in the other in Mission
Mhm.
Breakout. So BB-8's real cool. Rey is a cool hologram, which is a pretty good effect.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of just like, all right, Rey, like you're just kind of giving us a spiel, and we move on. And that's when we move out into the transport ship, which is next to Poe's X-wing, which you kind of don't even have a moment to appreciate how cool it is to have Poe's X-wing right there, because you're a little closer than the Resistance X-wing,
Yes.
and you're just kind of out there for a second. And I think that was all kind of sped up after the pandemic, because I feel like I went on once when Rise first opened, and you kind of had a moment to breathe. I feel like out there, like you're waiting for the transport, but now it's just kind of like head on to the transport, right? Or am I getting that wrong?
I think it like so during the pandemic there was this like rule that it's like you had to be like you couldn't be in the building for more than 15 minutes or whatever it was. And so it was like, okay, we were going to hold you outside and then we're going to run you inside.
Yeah.
And it's like, we got to go. And they would just run you through that space. And so you'd skip Rey, you'd skip all that stuff. You just all of a sudden, I'm on a ship and we're taking off. Versus like, I think pre and post pandemic, it's kind of in the exact same status where it's like you're there on the flight deck, but there's definitely less of a like, you know, I don't know if there's more or less time that you're standing out there kind of just looking around, but it might be a thing where you first went out there and so you're kind of taking it all in, and so you're spending a little bit more time with that, and now you've been through so many times that you're just kind of like, oh, all right, we're getting on board. We're not at the exciting part yet.
I also wonder if it has to do with having a standby queue, because it didn't before the pandemic at all, right? It was only virtual queue the whole.
Yeah, it was virtual queue.
So
it kind of moved around there. Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't as like there weren't a billion people waiting. Like when the queue filled up, the queue filled up, and yeah, you had to get through the groups, and I know that was like a lot of training and whatever, but it was still, you had groups coming in, and then until the next group was called, people were not coming in.
Yeah.
So yeah, but overall, yeah, I like that outdoor little area before the transport ship. It's a cool. you've gone indoors and then back outdoors, which I think is unique for a ride.
This attraction does something really well. And it's interesting because there's the concept art. Like if you get the Art of Galaxy's Edge and you can see like, oh, it looks more like Yavin 4. Like it's this actual like temple base. Like it was this built up structure. And then what they built was more foresty, kind of hidden in the tree line type of a thing.
I've got that art over there, and that's like, we didn't quite get that.
No.
Which, I mean, that's tough to do. That's
but it's also this is the general feeling that we're going for, and then what's practical. But what also helps with that is it's very understated. Like you could walk by Rise of the Resistance and not know that you're walking by the number one attraction at the park.
Yeah, it's hidden very well. Even like you can kind of catch a glimpse of the landing area, but it doesn't look like anything.
It's through the trees. You hear engines whirling and stuff. It actually adds to the ambiance of like this is a base. Like stuff's taking off. Like stuff's happening here. And then as you're going through, like you go into the caves, like it's tightening your point of view. And then you go into this central like holding room, and then you're like, you know, looking at the roof, and there's like star points up there, and there's electronics everywhere, and your viewpoint has gotten larger. Then you go into the Ray briefing room, and it's even larger. And now you're on the flight deck, and you have this whole open scene where it's like, all right, we got to get out of here. It's not safe. You know, Finn's coming in on this Star Destroyer, and we better get out of here before he gets here. With Kylo Ren. So you're trying to leave, but your perspective is kind of grown, and now you step inside the transport and your perspective's small again. The whole ride, it's doing this, like the constant perspective shifts versus, you know, something massive or like we're going to have it tight the whole time and then widen it. Like it's a very unique way of doing an attraction.
Yeah, definitely. And the transport ship itself is very cool because that's it's a motion simulator. You're on a little Star Tours, and there's some trickery that I'm going to spoil how this thing works. So you walk in through one door, you fly up into space. The quote unquote back of the ship, where the animatronic isn't, is more interesting because I think you could see more of,
you see more of the story if you're standing in the back. Everyone goes to the front to see Lieutenant Beck. If you really want to get a view of like what's happening where you are, you go to the back.
Yeah, and it's like a very, very convincing motion simulator because you're standing, right? And it's just like in motion enough where you're like, whoa, I'm not on steady ground, but also not so exaggerated that you don't lose your footing. It's great balance. But the spoiler here is you leave through the same door you came in because everyone's looking to go through the other door. You're like, oh, I walked through the ride. Well, the whole transport spins completely 180, which is, I mean, as far as it's the problem with that is you can only load one group at a time, right?
Yeah.
But it is very cool because the first time I went, I'm like, oh, whoa, how did they do that? I just came through the store and I'm going back out the door. And you go into the infamous Stormtrooper room, which I forget what that area is called. Is it just
it's the hangar? It's
the hangar
bay.
Hangar bay.
Yeah, you literally, if you're in the back of the ship and you're looking out the window, you can see the hangar bay as you approach. And for a split second before the ship turns, you can actually see the stormtroopers start lining up.
Yeah, you see them lining up, and I love you kind of feel the force field go over you.
The force field, if you're actually underneath like the frosted glass, you can actually see like the top of the Star Destroyer, like this slight gray form, and then the blue light goes through the ship,
which is awesome. And it's very convincing. And that room is completely breathtaking because it's the full height of the building. They just use that whole room. It looks like a portal out into space.
Yeah.
Every now and then you kind of see like a little TIE fighter go by.
Yeah.
And some of the stormtroopers move a little bit. They've had a stormtrooper just sitting there before, right? Every now and then.
Florida. I know in Florida, like there's videos in Florida where it's like they have the stormtroopers out there, and then it's like, oh, that one moved, like it's real, so then it's all real.
Yeah.
I wish they did more of that.
I think what's real interesting, just a little sidebar, is Florida, with both the ride and the land, they are inch for inch exactly the same, except like the entrances and maybe a couple things. Sometimes you can't tell where someone is when they take a picture.
Yeah, you wouldn't know just by any photo inside the building. Like you wouldn't know which coast you're on.
I'm saying even outside, it's like that sometimes. Like my friend Rosina's mom sent a picture of her drinking blue milk because she knows I always post the blue milk pictures. And I sent a picture with the exact same angle, and the whole frame looks exactly the same. But yeah, the ride, it's 1 for 1 the same. It's great. But yeah, that room is, I feel like I go through that room a lot quicker these days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it used to be like you could kind of stand around, take a picture or whatever. Now
And
it's
then
like,
the first order starts barking for you to get out.
yeah, now it's real quick. Like they're barking at you. Yeah, like you said, and
immediately start moving.
yeah, and something I forget to look at is like the full size TIE fighter just hanging.
Yeah.
There. That's almost more impressive than anything else. It's like, oh, that's how big these things are.
Well, it's cool because you've seen the X-Wings out in the land,
Yeah.
and now you're seeing a TIE fighter. You know, there's not a TIE fighter in the land, so now you're getting a perspective of scale. The way that they kind of have it where you're in this one part of the Star Destroyer, but you get a general sense that like you are in a different place, and there are different pathways and different hallways around. It's actually kind of cool in the way that it's organized there, where you're like, okay, like I can actually get a visual. Like you'll actually, if you watch the TIE fighters long enough, you could actually see that they kind of go to a hangar bay in the upper right. And if you're watching in the footage of you going into the hangar bay, you can see that your hangar bay is actually slightly off from the larger one that's to your left. So the spatial integrity of the TIE fighters over there are actually going to land. So like there's more of this Star Destroyer than where we are.
Yeah, I think the other big thing is we have a lot of large buildings in Disneyland, but the ceilings aren't always themed.
No.
This themed top to bottom, all the way through, and it's got those signature imperial walls with the ovals or whatever.
It's got that pattern. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a little bit modernized because of the newer films, but
Yeah.
it's still like
You know exactly what it is. when
you are
see it.
in that room, like, and the amount of times that you'll hear guests like, "Oh, the rebels," or you know, the Empire. It's like to just general. It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the general feeling, and that's okay. Like, it doesn't really matter what time period you're in. It's like you're in this story, you're in this experience.
Yeah, it's I there's this weird give and take of when there's no line, you kind of get rushed through real quick, so you can't look around. But then if you get to move slowly enough, as if you're walking through the halls, then there's a line, and then your immersion's broken anyway. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's real cool that you go through the hallway, you get kind of sorted in it's very free form almost for Disneyland, right? You're just kind of like, just stand here.
Mhm.
And you're just expected to stand there. And, you know, they come check on you. And then there's like the stormtroopers kind of in the corner by it's like a little control panel. But yeah, you're detained by the First Order. And the cast members are rude to you.
Yeah.
And it works completely. There are a lot of, we love cast members. Sometimes there's an accent at Haunted Mansion, doesn't quite work.
No.
But everyone kind of works at Rise of the Resistance. It's, you believe it. They're working here, because that's the other thing, especially in recent times. It's not like A New Hope where every Empire officer acts kind of the same. This is like, there are so many officers that all have different personalities in like the newer movies and everything, where it's just like, yeah, all these people just work for the First Order, and you better listen to them. And they don't break. And that's a lot to say for how hard cast members work, because I'm sure a lot of cast members are actors or aspiring actors or whatever, but a lot are they're just cast members that love working at Disneyland. And I know at the beginning of Galaxy's Edge, it was like there was some seniority, and the cast members who really put their heart and soul into Disneyland got the jobs first and whatever. So, but yeah, they do a great job. They're kind of in their own way like skippers, right? Skippers, I know it's more free form and everything, but that kind of like, hey, you're this character.
It's in that same heritage. Like, it's in that line of Haunted Mansion, Tower of Terror. Like,
you're not a ride operator.
Yeah, you're not just pressing buttons. You're also you are an integral part of the show.
Yeah.
And I think that plays for the entire experience of Rise in particular. I mean, originally, like Galaxy's Edge, it was the intent that this was just a given. It was just a part of what you were experiencing.
Oh, they were going to put everyone in hair and makeup and have Twi'lek selling you popcorn.
Totally.
But
I wish that was the world that we lived in.
They said those words.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened.
Promises that couldn't be kept. But with Rise of the Resistance, both the Resistance and the First Order, the show, the story does not work without their involvement. Like, if a cast member isn't in that show and like giving you that experience, you're not going to be as immersed. I mean, it is an immersive like attraction experience, but it's like, if they're not living up to what's around you and they start like, it's like jarring. It's like, well, you know, we're here to break you out. Like, that's different.
Yeah. For me, it's like, I'm not very good at, I'm very weird about role playing.
Yeah.
Not like people doing it, just like myself doing it. Because I think it's because Disneyland, like I always say I don't like talking to characters and stuff. I can role play if I'm role playing for like a day.
Yeah.
But it's like going in and out of the role play. It's like, no, I got to really get into it. But with Rise, I don't feel like they're just actors in a theme park. Like I don't feel that way. I'm like, even though I'm not like, I'm going to act scared or whatever, it's like, no, I'm in. We all know what's up and it works.
Well, and it's that fine line of like, it's just enough, but it's simple enough that it's like just a general mood.
But you're gonna pull a yellow strap in a little bit, so
yeah,
you know,
and then okay, I'm putting a seatbelt on. Yeah, it's still a Disney ride above all. Yeah,
yeah. So let's see. So you get detained and you get put into a cell, and you used to wait real long in that cell.
Yeah,
when the ride first, you're in there. What felt like at least 5 minutes of just nothing. It's still kind of long, but it moves along a little quicker, but. You get General Hux coming around. You get Stormtroopers. Does Kylo Ren show up for a second?
Yeah, Kylo Ren.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
he does the whole. So
you have what I want, you know.
Yeah, and
the whole cell shakes.
That I think is not that I would know, but underrated effect.
Yeah,
that's like whoa. Okay, the Force is here. Like,
and I always point out like the shadows on the roof where you can see Hux and Kylo like walking.
Oh yeah.
And so it gives you that perspective that like they're really there. So like in the trailer, in the commercial we were talking about, where it's like, oh, that's clearly an actor like standing in a set above, like, you know, it's a screen or whatever it is, but it has that fine line where it's like it's real enough because there's shadows, because of the lighting, that I can believe that they're there. You know, even just the cage aspect that's in front of them to give that depth. So it's not just like I'm just looking at a screen. It's like, no, there's actually like physical props, like the hallway that the projection is in. Is like that's a real thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that video was probably just taken on the ride. They just had an actor walk in there. There was no screen. But yeah, I think what's really cool too is it's not well lit.
No. Yeah.
Like I think even the Spider-Man effect or Peter Parker effect is convincing in web slingers, but with this, they don't have to make it bright and understandable. They're just kind of there threatening you, and they're kind of in the shadows a little bit, and like behind the gate, and it's very convincing, and I really like that room.
Yeah.
And even like you can't see where the cutaway is, which you get rescued by the Resistance, which I think is a very cool part right there. There, it is a little. We've told I think one person like, hey, maybe don't stand there because I think they were in a wheelchair or something, and we're like, hey, something's gonna move. But
you might not want to be leaning against that wall.
Yeah. How is that? Is it just like a situation that doesn't come up often, you think?
I think it's just like it's not detrimental enough.
Yeah. Like maybe it just shakes enough where someone would get off before anything bad happened. It doesn't like fall away. So
and it doesn't like shoot all the way out. Like it moves open a little bit and then stops.
Yeah.
And then it moves all the way. Like so it doesn't like move all the way instantly and it's like you fall completely, backwards into the load area.
As someone who has customers who ask about safety features, Disney has thought about it for sure, and it got an approval. So
well, even if you're in there and it's the whole thing of like we were talking about in the hallway where you're just kind of like standing there, like you just stand on this line, keep standing, don't lean on the wall.
Like no one's gonna be that smug where they're leaning against the wall, legs crossed, and like.
But also it's like if you just did that, it's like there's nothing that they're going to be able to do to prevent you from just leaning against the wall if you really wanted to. Yeah. It's not you're not playing along, but like you don't have to.
Well, and I wonder if someone would immediately move away when they see the lasers cutting through. It's not a laser, the heat torch, whatever it is.
Well, you have the torches and you have like the loud noise, and it's like if you're not paying attention or somebody isn't paying attention, you're still leaning against the wall. It's pretty obvious.
But yeah, you are rescued by Resistance members who are in a rush, and it's for a couple reasons, but in character and out. But I think that's almost. I mean, with the First Order job, you gotta like keep the straight face. With that job, it's like you have to be a Disneyland safety person, but also be like, we're getting you out of here. And I think that's a really cool part of the ride. People get a little bit confused at the color thing because of the subtle little like here's the oranges, but it mostly works out.
Well, it's better now than it was because it used to be where it was just you had the colors there and then you go inside this cell where this whole show happens and then all of a sudden you're expected to remember something. And it's that general thing of like, yeah, give people like 5 seconds, they're going to forget.
Yeah.
And now it's like you go inside the cell and there's my same color. Now I'm still standing on that color. And I had to go, well, I was just standing on that color. So it's like that now they're like tripling down on that, hey, try and remember this, please.
Yeah. And I do also love that. I know they have designated spots, but that the vehicles are just kind of there.
Yeah.
They're not like they're not on a track. The whole thing's trackless, of course, but they're just kind of there, diagonal, crooked, and
well, I think that's the first hint that like this isn't something that you've ever been on before.
Yeah, because you're in a room getting on this thing, and other people are in other rooms.
When you think of every trackless ride, like period, all of them, they all have the traditional loading gates, and the vehicle comes straight up to the platform. It's completely level. Like looking at the vehicle, like you have to take a step into the vehicle, like up into the vehicle. It's not like level with the floor, and you're just going from a boarding platform. Like it's not traditional in that way. And it adds to the general sense of like chaotic nature and that we are escaping. That this isn't going according to plan.
I will say, if it hasn't been spoiled for you, I won't. Mickey and Minnie's, I think it helps that it seems like you're just getting into a train.
Yeah.
But yeah, with this ride, it's great. You just hop in and I think immediately you get that crazy effect of this isn't a normal ride because they do the vehicle swap. Which, spoilers, is just vehicles coming back from the charging station at the exit dock to get loaded. Yeah. They're just empty. But you get this big room with tracks on the floor of all these things moving around, and they cross you diagonally, and you move into another room. You're like, whoa, okay.
What's going on here?
Yeah. Where am I going? You don't know where you're going.
Well, then that's another thing of like, there's just a hallway with endless droids coming back in, and you're like, cool, so this is bigger than I thought it was. Like it adds into that whole thing of like, you are in this ship. You're in this very large space, and who knows which direction you're going in, which hallway. I mean, you even get a perspective in the little hologram there with Finn, where it like shows like the little elevator and it goes all the way down. It has like sort of false drop that like, oh, so we're going to fall at some point.
Yeah.
Everybody just takes a gasp of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And I will say we're going to talk about the ride system a little bit more later, but I think this room is where I explain to people and like, why does the ride go down often? And I'm like, if one vehicle gets lost to the system and doesn't know where it is for long enough where it can't catch up or whatever, then it shuts down because that thing could just crash into another. Not that one would crash, but another one could crash into that. So all the vehicles the system has to know where every vehicle is.
When you just think of how safe you have to design something like that, like these things are just rolling around on a floor.
Yeah.
So how safe does that have to be like designed that it's like signed off, it's approved, and they're putting people on it? So at that point, like, it's pretty safe. And that definitely enhances like, why is it going down all the time? Probably because it like has really intense parameters.
Yeah, it probably just lost the position of a vehicle most of the time, and then it just kind of reboots and finds it or whatever. Yeah. But there's fail safes.
And then you see people asking all the time of like, why is it down? Why is it down? And I'm like, if it was explained to you technically why, like it wouldn't make any sense really. Yeah. Like here's all the code, here's the engineering behind it. It's like that's not what you need to hear.
Yeah, and it just safety is the most important thing. Yeah. Really. If one of those things hits another one time, we're gonna hear it forever.
I remember in the Imagineering story, they have that thing where they're testing out. I think it's the honeypots from Hong Kong.
Oh,
or no, Tokyo. Yeah, it's the honeypots from the Tokyo like Winnie the Pooh ride, and it was the first trackless dark ride. And they show it like slamming into a wall, and I'm like, wow, yeah. If that ever happened, like, I mean, it's jarring.
If it happens on a roller coaster, like we kind of understand, like it's a train and something got detached or whatever. This is like the vehicle drove into a wall. It's like it decided to take me there. Not this thing failed. It's a different feel.
Yeah.
But anyways, some of the vehicles get up close and personal with the probe droid.
Yeah.
Some of them kind of see it from afar. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize how big those things were.
Yeah, it's huge.
There is one hanging in near like the bathrooms, the refreshers, whatever you call them, right? But it's hanging. Once something's higher up, kind of like streetlights, you don't realize how big those are because they're so high up. That probe droid shows up and you're like, oh, this is why everyone's afraid of these things.
Yeah, the scale, and then it's got all these arms and who knows what it's going to do to you. Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's called a probe droid.
And I think something really interesting about this is because you're inside of a ship, you're not like on Tatooine or whatever. It's shiny and new. It's not like sunburnt and sand destroyed by rough and coarse sand that gets everywhere. It's
just traveling through this thing.
Yeah, and it's menacing. So
giant red eyes. It's great.
Yeah, good stuff. And so after that, you head into the AT-AT room.
Well, you go over to that side hall where the elevators are, and you see the two elevators. And as you get closer, that's when you have the stormtroopers walking up top, and it's like, oh, the prisoners have escaped, and they start shooting at you, and that's the first time you see the laser effects.
Yeah,
how you're like, it's not just projection of like, here's lights on the wall. It's like actually you can see like bolts in midair.
Yeah,
like you would in the movies.
Yeah, that part's real cool. And yeah, you escape into do you call them AT-ATs or AT-ATs?
I call them AT-ATs is the right thing though. Yeah.
The only reason I say it, people argue with me all the time. Like they're not ATSTs, they're ATSTs. So, or what do people call them? Chicken walkers.
Chicken walkers. Yeah.
But anyways, you go into that room, and it's like I saw these things being built. They don't move.
No.
But it still feels like that thing's gonna stomp on you. And it still feels like the head turns and looks at you. And what I love about that room, I gotta say, Rain hates the Finn animatronic. And I noted before, it might be an issue with the skin coloring. Like not what color he is, but with making it look convincing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of like, especially like even in animation, skin started looking more realistic when you give the outer layer this translucency and this depth, and it's with lighter colors, it's kind of easier to make that type of stuff convincing. So maybe there's some effect there. I don't know. But it's like a real stark contrast to Hondo, who I know he's a stationary. There's one of them, whatever. Or is there two of them? No, there's one of them.
It's just one Hondo.
But
I think it more has to do with Hondo as an alien. And so you can kind of get away with that versus you make a human being. And so all of a sudden it's like, okay, you have the uncanny valley. So how close can you get to real? And how much do you go in the opposite direction with stuff like Pirates of the Caribbean? A lot of these other experiences where it's like they're caricatures.
Pirates is convincing though because they can make them dirty.
Yeah, I
Finn's
guess.
nice and clean. He's a little sweaty almost and shiny. So it's like,
well, it's hard because you see like actual, John Boyega, like live action.
That's the other thing. It's based off of John Boyega. It's not this fake, like human you haven't seen,
And I think that definitely hurts it. But it's also like he's kind of off in the corner. He's off in the shadows. They don't really shine a spotlight on him. Sometimes you see him, sometimes you don't. So it's not like the biggest thing in the world, and he's more meant to just blend into the battle, clearly.
But it doesn't really bother me. It just really bothers Rain, and I had to put it out there because he's not here. But,
it would only bother me if he's not working. Yeah. Like if he's just sitting there frozen, that's going to be worse. But otherwise, as long as he's working, like there you go. Yeah. There's no problem.
So what I like about this scene is this is the first kind of the sense of scale of just like, you're under these things.
Since you were in the hangar bay, this is the biggest like thing. This is the most, it's blowing you away. Like it just like we were talking about the probe droids, like you get a sense of scale. Like, oh, these things are massive.
And you're in that mode of like, you're in the thick of it. So it's not like you don't even have time to wonder if it's real or not. No. You're just kind of almost afraid, right? You're in a rush. And this is where you get the lifts, which you could kind of see other lifts from where you are, which that's the one thing where I'm kind of like, maybe those should have been themed a little more, but nitpicking. Mm-hmm. But you get lifted. That's one of the first things you're like, oh, this is really different. Like you go upstairs. And what I like about that is you have different, no matter where you are, you kind of get stormtroopers shooting at you, but you get these different perspectives and it works either way. It's not like they were in front of the AT-ATs and they got a better view. It's like, no, you're on the side of them, which they go all the way in, and they kind of added a window there where they shoot out of, but it's still really cool. So I love that room. And that's from there, you more or less go into the bridge.
Yeah,
right?
The bridge. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where you see, that's the one weird thing of, you see so many people working down there, and like especially the newer stuff like Rogue One. What am I wearing? Yeah, I'm wearing the Rogue One shirt. And it's like, oh, we're just kind of rolling in here, but it's cool. Yeah. So you get Hux and Kylo up there, And they don't really have Hux turn around because probably didn't get him a little convincing enough. But it's cool to see them just up there, just like talking. And you see outside into space with everything coming through. And that's where you get the line that we said in the beginning, which I love. And that's when Kylo Ren starts to chase you.
Yeah.
And he chases you into another room where you see him in the hallway. And then how do you get away from that? Do you close the door? Is that what happens?
The doors close. Yeah. And so then you're looking at him like he drops down from the ceiling.
And he marches towards you.
And he's walking towards you. And he has his like ignited lightsaber. And it's that weird thing where like you can tell that like he's projected, but his saber is like, that's not a projection. Like it's real. And so it's like, where's that line? Yeah. And that's, I think, the best part of this attraction in any like scene that you're in is that it's very hard to tell the line between a digital effect and something that's practical.
Yeah, like when the walls are destroyed, it's like some of them are projected, some of them are destroyed walls.
Yeah.
But you're not sure.
Yeah, it's blurring that line, and it's enough and it's consistent enough. It's not like, in this one scene, they've blurred the lines and you can tell otherwise. Yeah. It's they made a direct effort to, if they can build it practical, they tried to do that. And like, you don't see that everywhere. And it's like, it's a clear, like, it's what makes this much closer to Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion, a traditional like classic Disney ride versus like a simulator, like Star Tours or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's we've always said like projections can really add to something as long as it's not the whole system of like you're just in a holodeck or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like even on Alice in Wonderland, you have some projections and mostly practical, and it works because of that. But yeah, then he chases you and you hear and kind of maybe feel him, but that's up to you, on top of you.
Yeah.
Walking in the ceiling, and the lightsaber 9 times out of 10 bursts through the ceiling and starts cutting a hole, which is that all started in the prequels, right?
Yeah.
Where we start cutting through the doors.
It's a clear homage to in Revenge of the Sith when they're in the elevator and they have to like cut their way in and cut their way out. So it's like, it makes sense. Like you're pulling the same. Even the next scene that with the guns is a clear homage to Revenge of the Sith, where you have the guns, you have the gun lines with the ships next to each other, which we don't really see in the newer movies, but it's still a fun homage for like the ride. Like that's a cool visual.
Yeah, I think it's sad that the blasters are still not working.
Yeah.
Right?
As of this recording, the guns still don't work, and they haven't for a very long time.
Yeah, which is crazy that they just stopped because it's so new. And they worked post-pandemic or when Disneyland reopened.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of just stopped. And someone wrote in, they know someone who either worked on the ride in Florida or currently does, some sort of engineer, that they're not abandoning the effect, but they're figuring it out. And I assume if they are figuring it out, it's how does this not happen again, right?
Yeah, it's that classic, like you look at Indiana Jones Adventure is like the perfect example of the ride with so many different effects that like happened and like then just disappeared. Even you think of the Hatbox Ghost that like clearly was in the attraction at some point and then taken out because the effect, they weren't happy with it. In this case, it's not working, I guess. But you also have to think of like, that is a giant prop the size of like a bus that goes into the path in front of a vehicle and then moves out of the way.
So I watched a ride through just to kind of refresh the layout in my mind, and they move way more than I remember. It's a massive thing, and it goes all the way to the viewport window type deal.
And fires out of it. Yeah.
And I think something a little bit funny, the vehicles stop as if they're still going. Like they're still programmed to pause.
Yeah, sometimes
and then go.
Sometimes they do that. And sometimes they like go forward and then they pull you back.
Yeah.
And you kind of move in that way. Just to, I guess, give you some type of movement in that hall. But like it's not the same with the
I wonder if they just
movement.
left that programming in.
Yeah.
And it like the ride thinks those things are moving, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it. But yeah, that is probably one of the craziest effects, I'd say. Because it's just so much movement and it's very real and it looks very dangerous. And I mean, it kind of is.
And I think that's the thing of like, if you're going to look at an effect that's not working, that one makes the most sense out of anything because it's playing with like the space in front of you and because it's crossing where vehicles cross. Like you don't do that normally. You even think of Indiana Jones, like your vehicle doesn't physically move backwards. And so that's the whole purpose of that giant, all the walls moving to try and create that effect. Except then they don't work either.
Yeah.
It's just added to the lineage, but honestly, it's like the guns still look like they're firing. You're still seeing the battle outside. So it's not the end of the world. It's not the worst thing.
And I think this is when Rain said the ride made him emotional because he felt like I'm in Star Wars now. There's a space battle going on. It's outside and I'm kind of, you've been on the ride long enough too, where you're like, oh yeah, you're totally in. You're trying to escape. Like,
well, and one of the X-Wings flies towards the ship and like fires and blows a hole in the ship. And that damages, as we were talking about, it's like physical. Like that's a physical set work, and then it gets projected upon. And the guns moving hid that. And now that the guns don't move, if you're in the first vehicle and you're in the first row, you can kind of get a peek of like the damage over there before the event actually happens that causes it.
Yeah, and so the thing with that, even if it's like you're almost not sure if you saw it happen.
Yeah.
But I think because earlier in the ride, you see projected damage, your brain is used to this was not damage and it is now. And then by the time you see that thing, it just is sticking out the whole time.
It's there,
But your brain is just like, no, that happened right now.
It just happened. Yeah, we just watched the battle and it just impacted where we are.
Yeah, and it's awesome. And that's where you get to you think you're about to escape.
Yeah.
And then Kylo Ren pulls you in and gives you his little speech. And that part, I don't know. I almost feel like the B mode is better.
Like where he's in his little ship and he's out there and then it, gets shot down.
Not better, but like maybe it's the script that's kind of
your friends are about to be destroyed and
it's a little awkward to me. And you know what? It looks like they program it so it looks like he's pulling the ceiling down. But you just know it's just covering him and it kind of butterflies down.
It's kind of like where you've seen it in the movies where it's like debris falls and they like hold, like they force, hold and shield themselves.
It's not quite there and it's the kind of climactic moment. But it is cool. I think the only reason it's not bad is like, it looks like the ship is blown through.
And that's a cool thing if you pay attention because you're focusing on like Kylo, he's there physically in front of you. But if you look at the screen on the right, you see that a TIE fighter gets shot and is spinning out of control and then hits the ship behind Kylo. And that's what blows out the wall. And that's another example of like, we're in this room and then this effect happens. And like, all the wind starts getting sucked out of, the air is getting sucked out of the ship.
And you feel it.
Yes.
And it's coming through the hallways. And that is like, oh yeah, okay, there's a hole through space.
And then even when you go into the escape pod room, the air is still getting sucked out. So it just continues forward.
Yeah, and I love that. And you've seen the silly videos of Kylo just kind of flailing around, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I've never seen it happen. And I think the thing that they really get right, that's also they really get right in what is it, Star Tours, is the force effect.
Oh yeah.
Where, in the jail cell and you just getting pulled around. Yeah. Just awesome effects that make you feel threatened.
Well, and I feel like there's like there's a change from the vehicle's motion to you're under the control of the force. Yeah. It's subtle, but whatever they're doing where maybe they shake the vehicle a little bit or whatever it is, like you feel like, okay, his motions are completely tied into the vehicle's motions.
Yeah. And it's very convincing and it works very well.
Yeah.
So like you mentioned seconds ago in real life, the escape pods.
Oh, yes.
You get loaded into the escape pods. You get loaded and locked in, which if you know it's coming, you feel it. Otherwise, you're just distracted. And I think one of the most, I was going to say effective things, but a really good touch is you see another escape pod in the distance.
Yes.
Fall. And that gives you the hint something's about to happen. And I've even heard people scream when they see that, which I think is great because they're like, oh no, I am going to drop. And I think it's crazy that you get a few seconds of it is free fall, right?
Yeah.
But it's free fall with motion sim, which is a very crazy.
It's
thing.
a very different sensation.
Yeah, because free fall is not the same as being pulled down, but you do definitely feel it for a second. But what's cool is you fall, and then there's this controlled. You're flying a little bit. You're falling.
But you feel like you get caught, like you get catched because of the engines of the,
Yeah, it's like it kicked in. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's a really cool effect. It's if I've told, I've gone on with people who've like never been on, they don't know anything. I'm like, listen, I know this might spoil a little bit, but there's going to be a very small drop.
Yeah.
I won't tell you when it is if you don't want to know.
Yeah.
But you should know. And then when we got off the ride, they're like, I'm glad you told me.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm glad I didn't ask where it was, but I feel like if I didn't know, I would have pooped my pants.
they describe it as in the like ride description, like signs. They're like, it's a swift drop. It's like, that can be determined based off of every individual, but like, it's not Guardians. It's not yanking you down. Like if you think of other drop rides, like it's actually like pulling you down to give you that upward sensation versus this where you're like, you don't really like fly out of your seat. Like you feel yourself drop, but you're not like floating in midair or anything like that.
Yeah, I know people who have like problems with vertigo and stuff like that, and they're totally cool with the ride. They're like, yeah, I'm glad I watched the ride through just so I know it's coming. But like Kimmy does not do drop rides, and she'll do rise sometimes. Like she's not like I'll never do it again. Like she does not do splash, and that's not really a drop ride, but it almost is.
Yeah,
she will do Tiana's once to see it, right, and then that's it. But like we don't go on Tower of or Mission Breakout, which I only go on Mission Breakout when people ask me to, just because like it's usually a wait and whatever about it. But yeah, so it's not as big of a deal as one might think, and it's definitely a ride everyone should go on. Because even I know it's anecdotal and whatever, but I know someone who had like actual like medical vertigo, whatever, does not go on other rides like this, but was totally fine with this ride and goes on all the time. So
yeah, it's one of those tricky things of like it is designed for everyone, and it's not the most intense experience.
Yeah,
it's the most immersive thing. So it's like, this isn't trying to be like a big thrill ride. This isn't a roller coaster. It's like it's trying to tell a story, and you're in that story. You even look at the beginning, like the transport, and how like that's it's kind of a simulator, but it's not as intense as Star Tours. It's not like that heavy of a motion simulation type thing.
And I think you being on your feet prevents motion sickness, because motion sickness is when visuals and feeling kind of don't match up. When you're just sitting, your feet dangling, especially like Soarin' and Star Tours, it doesn't work for some people. But when you're standing, your whole body's moving.
Yeah.
And your inner ear and everything's like, oh yeah, I'm moving. It's fine. Right. But yeah, you kind of said it. So, the ride ends, you get pulled into the loading station, yada, 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 right?
Yeah,
it kind of just ends there.
You crash landed. Oh, there's Lieutenant Beck.
Yeah. And Finn he thinks he has the authority to make
You're part of the resistance now. Congratulations.
But yes. So let's talk about the ride system and vehicles. I guess we'll start with the drawbacks of Trackless. It's not a thrill ride.
No.
It's not a fast ride.
No.
Either. So I often tell people, echoing what you said, Space Mountain is more fun than this ride. You're more like Yahoo when you're on it, right? Now this is pod racing, but Rise of the Resistance is the best experience. It is something you've not experienced before, and you will not, as far as I know, anywhere else at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting of like, if I'm going there with friends, like I don't often take them to Rise of the Resistance. Like we don't go on Rise of the Resistance for fun. Like we go there to like, sure, it's entertaining and all that, but it's not like I would much rather go on Hyperspace Mountain if I'm just looking for a good time.
Yeah, it's mostly because of the weight and everything. And I guess, Kimmy doesn't really look for the ride, but it's not because of her. I just kind of don't look for Rise.
Yeah.
When people are like, I want to go on Rise, I'm like, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
Easy. But I'm not like, check the Rise wait time, you know? And I don't know. I think the other thing is I love Star Wars, and I love the nitty gritty Star Wars more than the other things. I love the Rogue One. I fell in love with Clone Wars, like inside and out. Andor is amazing, like all that kind of stuff. But so but I just don't have like this attachment to Rise for some reason. Like this, maybe it's because I want to be in the world of Star Wars. Like I feel that more just walking around Galaxy's Edge, especially like at night when it's empty. It's like, yeah, I'm just kind of in this outpost.
And Rise continues that like spirit and feeling. I wonder if there's just an aspect of like it doesn't do wish fulfillment as well as some other experiences. Like for me, I recently had the privilege of going to Disneyland Paris. I went on my honeymoon. And so we actually went and did their Hyperspace Mountain, which their Space Mountain has like loops and corkscrews and everything. And there's a certain point where you're about a minute and a half into this coaster. And I'm like, this is a long coaster. And you're on this brake run and you're going towards the Star Destroyer. And if you've been on Hyperspace Mountain here in Anaheim, it's very similar. You're like going up towards the Star Destroyer and then you kind of dive down. But in this case, you dive down. It's like lock S foils in attack position. You dive down and you do a barrel roll. As you're doing the barrel roll, lasers are shooting out from the coaster and you shoot down a bunch of TIE fighters.
Whoa.
So you feel like you're like, oh, I'm dogfighting in an X-Wing. And that was the most like wish fulfillment I've ever had on any Star Wars ride. Like, period.
People really even love our Hyperspace Mountain. I think it's the worst version of our Space Mountain. I say it all the time. But that ours is not convincing to me.
No.
At all. Like, I actually love the Millennium Falcon. Even, you know what? Even C-3PO pulling the Star Tours vehicle back and flipping the blasters out feels real to me. Like, I almost feel them popping out and him shooting, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it's because you're just being pulled around in Rise.
You're being rushed from room to room. And maybe I think it's another drawback of Trackless that it's not as visceral all the time.
You're
like
rolling
it's not
on a big skate. Like
you're just rolling around. It's not really, you don't feel like it's happening to you. And there's moments where you do in the attraction. I just don't know if it's that consistent. Like if the vehicle felt more like it's dodging, like it was throwing you around a little bit. Like if you've been on Runaway Railway, at a certain point, there's a dancing sequence where you're bouncing back and forth in your vehicle and you're kind of getting thrown about. You get thrashed a little. And if Rise did that more, then I think it would feel a little bit more thrilling because it's missing. It has the Indiana Jones adventure scale, but it doesn't have that visceral feeling that I'm off-roading, I'm doing this and that. And I get it. Like you're floating, you're in this like speeder type thing. But still, I think it's just a little bit, it's not visceral enough to actually deliver on that experience, even though what's happening around you is intense.
I do wonder if they could, they would make it a trackless indie style ride where the vehicle has hydraulics in it.
Yeah, it has some
but
type
they're
of
just
lift,
like, one, all the other guests are going to see the hydraulic lifts and everything. And two, we could barely figure this one out. Like this, it's not the time and place for this.
Like that'll be a ride that they can build in 10 plus years. You know, that's,
like imagine feeling like you're in this floating vehicle and it kind of gets like, like banks up and then comes back down like when it catches itself. Like that would be crazy. You'd feel like you're floating a little more. And it can't handle that. But yeah, and every motion, it's like there's this almost like lag to it. Like you get pulled and you're kind of like still catching up with the vehicle.
You're sliding,
Yeah. So yeah, that's where you, even with Runaway Railway, you don't feel like you're on a runaway railway because you're in the vehicle. And I think you and Matthew was on the phone maybe. I don't know. I think I've talked to both of you with this. I love Runaway Railway. It did like exceed my expectations, but in a completely different way. It's just a different beast. But it's not, the name's a little.
I have more fun with Runaway Railway than I do with Rise of the Resistance.
Runaway Railway feels like I am inside of Disney.
Yes.
Which is, Rise is almost a serious experience.
Yeah, and I think it's funny that it is as serious as it is, and I'm not always looking for a serious experience. I think that's why it's a once in a while thing. It's not every time I go to Disneyland I have to do Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah, and I actually really do like Smuggler's Run, and I mean pilot number one obviously, but I like being an engineer because it's interactive, but you can kind of pay attention.
Yeah.
And Hondo is just silly.
Yes.
Where he's like, hey, you got one. And now a little something for Hondo. Like, it's just ridiculous.
And that ride is as fun as the crew that is flying it. So
always.
Like if you are with 5 of your friends there's 6 of you, you're filling every single seat and you are all yelling at each other.
Mm.
Falcon is going to be an infinitely more fun experience and actually deliver on the wish fulfillment of you guys are a crew on the Falcon versus you and several other strangers. Like it's better if you know everybody in that ride.
I was talking to someone who just went and he did Falcon. And the funny thing is, if you have bad pilots who are just on their own, not talking or whatever, they don't know what's going on at all, it's not fun. If you have bad pilots who are playing along, it's still fun.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, because they're like, oh no, I messed it up, whatever.
It's more fun when you are slamming. Like I like to play the game of how low can you get that percentage? How low can you get the health of the Falcon?
I like when sometimes you just get behind a crate and it just has to lift itself out. Like, we got to get out of here. Like, you can't steer out of here.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that ride. I love Smuggler's Run. But so there are some benefits of the trackless though.
Yes.
The going to a second story is crazy on a ride. And you get fake outs with paths because there is no track there. It's like, I think there might even be like tire tracks there or whatever, but it's like you think you're going to some other door and then you get pulled through another, right?
Yeah.
And what's real cool is I've heard they've done this with what's the other Guardians, right? Cosmic Rewind. You're always facing the action you're supposed to be facing, right? It's when you got to see the probe droid, you're pulled right up to
it. It has that Omnimover quality where like the Omnimover was designed so that it can face you towards the experience, that you're constantly in the direction that is intended from the artist, and Rise can do that. The difference though is that like even the areas that aren't like you're not facing towards, you can still look and it's built. It's immersive.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And you get pulled into the area you're supposed to look at too, right? It's not just, Haunted Mansion, you face it. But imagine you face the Hatbox Ghost and then you get pulled up to the Hatbox Ghost and he looks at you. That's almost the feeling of Rise. The one just actual thing I think was not a great decision. The droid in the front is a little bit tall, right?
Yeah,
For
especially if you have kids. Yeah, it always like it's a thing of like kids like being in the middle, like between people. They don't want to be on the edges, but the edges are so much better for like a view.
And like the droid, it's cool because it moves. The head moves. It goes up and down. And I wanted to make it a different color in our art this week. That I don't know if I've showed you the art, but it's the glossy black. It's like undeniably glossy black, brand new. But it looks real cool. But yeah, I think it was just like, I don't know. Maybe they should have put the droid in the back.
I do like it in the front because he's a character.
Yeah.
There's a character attached to your vehicle. It also is very much like Star Tours and like these other experiences where like a droid is involved in your adventures in some way. And it is that type of thing that then like the kids get off the ride and they go to the droid depot and they make their own R5. Yeah. Like it all plays into itself very well. And the kids want to hug R5 at the end. It's like you have to do that.
Is it? I don't know if I've ever sat in the middle. Is it within arm's reach?
Oh yeah,
you could just
touch it. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And they designed it that way. Like you could just go up there and like rub his head. Yeah, tap him on the dome.
Nice. Yeah. So real cool ride, real attraction. This is if you want to call anything an attraction, it's this one.
This is yeah.
Just some fun little facts for everyone. If you watch the unloading zone, there's little charging pads on the floor, which are cool. I'm sure there are in the loading zone, but I'm not sure. And it's a real sophisticated system. I understand why it breaks. It's the same reason. Well, no, Mickey and Minnie, I think some of the effects get weird because you get the room changes and all that. But real cool. I'm glad that this isn't the only feature, because you're still getting stuff like Cosmic Rewind coming out and whatever. It's hey, there's a place for roller coasters and there's a place for trackless. And
trackless isn't everything. It's not like traditional tracked rides are going away in some way. It's
because then we would just have slow rides everywhere. Oh, there was one note I was gonna make earlier about the locking in of the drop pods or the escape pods. I haven't been on Expedition Everest, but that's a really long, like we got to wait for the track to flip and thing and it breaks it. This is like, it looks like you're preparing to drop and then good stuff. But yeah, I don't know if I have any more notes on this. Do you have any closing thoughts? Anything we didn't cover on the attraction?
No, not really. I think we got it all. We got it all in there.
Yeah, we normally put like, okay, what's the story? But we went through the story. I normally put what's the music, but it's kind of like,
it is a thing of if you try and find where the music is from, it's very interesting that it's not just all stuff from the new movies. Like there's a lot of the music in the ride that is from A New Hope and is paying direct homage to like the original Star Wars film, because it's almost one of those things where like, yes, it's the Resistance, the First Order, and yes, it's these characters, but it doesn't really matter. It's just Star Wars. It's Star Wars as a ride. Doesn't matter what movie it is, doesn't matter what era it is. There's an evil, there's a bad guy. Here are the good guys. This is the Force. You're part of the rebels. You're rebelling against this evil force. Like, there we go. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, and the music is very like in the background. Like,
yeah.
There's just so much going on. That's why I didn't have anything to say about it.
When you go into the drops and it starts playing the music from when the Death Star blows up.
Oh, that's what happens.
That's like one of the most recognizable ones in there.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched the original trilogy. I don't rewatch movies often.
Yeah,
but I'll look out for that. Yeah, I think it's what I've said. What many people say: really good music, you point it out. Really bad music, you point it out.
Yeah,
music that works, you don't have anything to say, but that's a good thing.
It's just the background, and it is something to point out that like Galaxy's Edge is a land that doesn't have a continuous background loop.
Yeah.
The rides, the experiences where you become the main character in a Star Wars story is when the music plays. And so it's subtle, but like the moment you step into the briefing room and like BB-8's there, the music starts building and building and building until it is the score.
Yeah. Yeah, I do love the little score that is playing while you walk in to Galaxy's Edge. And it's like you can't have that everywhere.
No.
But sometimes you want just a little something.
Just a little bit.
Just a little in a corner.
You know, the amount of times that I wish they were playing like Yavin 4, like the bass music from Rogue One when they're walking around, you know, it's like if they're playing that in the Rebel base and you're feeling like, all right, we're preparing to fight the Empire, like that would be great.
Yeah, not like Avengers Camp is like, you're going to go save the world. Just like something just you kind of
subtle.
Almost like, movies that are self-aware about the music. Like, oh, wait, why is that music playing? You know, like almost like it's just, it's there, but it's helping you live this. Yep. But yeah. Do love this. It's been a while since I've gone on, but I'll be back. And I'm sure you've never purchased the Lightning Lane.
No.
But would you say it's worth it for someone who's never been on?
If you've never done it before, it's almost an instant buy.
Pay the $20.
Unless you're there during a slow day. Like, if you see that thing more than like an hour, I just do it. I mean, it's also it's like buying insurance. It's like if this thing goes down, I know that at some point today, I'm going to be able to use this to get on the ride.
Yeah. Yeah. It basically, if the ride goes down and you've purchased it, it just gives you a start time and no end time.
Yeah.
And also, don't abuse this, but like I tried to get on Mickey and Minnie's. It closed down and didn't open until after fireworks, and I wasn't going to stay. You can just open the chat on the app you purchased it on, because it's just way easier. You say, hey, the ride closed down. I got the little thing and I'm not staying that long. Can I get a refund? It says non-refundable, but that means you can't go on the ride and say, I didn't like it. If you're not going to go on that day, they will refund you. Usually the pending charge will drop off. Something weird that happened to me that I just want to point out to people. I bought it on my phone with my Apple Pay, and then it refunded Kimmy's credit card. But Kimmy's credit card is not in my app, but her ticket, her pass is in my app.
So it went through her pass into her account and then refunded it. That is weird.
Very weird. So just, hey, like, and they'll email you, and they emailed her, but she got like 20 emails and missed it. And we get Disney emails every day, every time we log in. So, but yeah, that can happen, but definitely it's totally worth buying. So you ready for this, Freddie?
Yeah.
All right. It's time for We Have It So Good, where we in the Tram Fam talk about our trips to Disneyland and what's bringing us joy lately. Right in with your trip recaps at trammin.com/ask. We're not going to do a now playing segment, but is there anything of note you've watched or read or listened to that's like crazy that is worth mentioning? Or
not really?
Not really.
Not right now.
I just wanted to let everyone know I finished The Hobbit, the book, and it is wonderful.
Fantastic.
So go ahead, read it. And it is much shorter than Lord of the Rings. The books are about the same size, but the Lord of the Rings font is half the size, and they're in the same box set. I'm just like, oh, no. But yeah, totally recommend. So Raven writes in, Hi, Kirk and Rain. Rain will be back. I have a late write-in for We Have It So Good. Joel and I attended Dapper Day. This was like for last week, and I forgot it. We trammed in and met up with my mom and her husband, Manuel, who dressed up and even got a few compliments on their outfits. Dapper Day was not as crowded as it has been in years past, but it was still a lot of great people watching. We met up at Docking Bay 7, where Joel and I were just finishing up our Ronto-less garden wraps. We then made a quick dash to Rise of the Resistance, as it was about a 40-minute wait. After Rise, we headed back to Docking Bay 7 to enjoy Black Calf's blue milk and the new polystarch puff bread. Delicious. After Galaxy's Edge, we made our way to the Stage Door Cafe to get chimichangas and corn dogs. I didn't know they had chimichangas at Stage Door.
Yeah, well, I'll bring that up later.
Oh.
Yeah.
We perused a few stores while waiting for my mobile order raspberry Mickey macaron, and then picked up a pickle on the way to Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, all the staples. Yeah, this is great. We stopped at Port Royal Curios and Curiosities and got a few pennies pressed. Decided to call it a day and head for Main Street. Made one last stop at the Candy Palace and Candy Kitchen to get a candy apple, marshmallow one, peanut butter square, and Topo Chico before boarding the trams. All in all, a great day of eating. Maybe it says something that she said we went on Rise and then just moved on with the cover.
That was it.
Yeah, a great ride. Moved on. Let's see. Is there another note I was gonna make? Oh, Dapper Day.
Yeah.
I think it used to be you go on that day because you're going to Dapper Day.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's you bought a ticket and that's the reservation that's open and a bunch of regular people are there. And if you happen to pull one off for Dapper Day, you got in, but it's fewer people.
The reservation system hurts, but it's not entirely like prohibited. Like if you know, like Dapper Day's announced like way in advance.
Of
so
course.
It's like if you really wanted it, you would book it.
It's the reservation system pulls in people who are not planning on going to Dapper Day more than it used to. It used to just be the parks were not that busy.
Yeah.
And it was just everyone there was there for Dapper Day. Now it's just like there are just people who are there and there are people who are there for Dapper Day.
So like just the percentage of people there for Dapper Day, like compared to the overall park capacity is just less.
Yeah, it's just like, I know it probably varies. They're never going to give us numbers, but it's almost like there are the same number of people at Disneyland every day. So it's just like on Dapper Day, it's just some of those people are Dapper Day people. And
yeah, in general, it does feel like it's not at its peak popularity anymore.
Yeah, and I didn't know this, but there are a lot of Dapper Day purists that don't like the Disney bounding.
Yeah.
Which I don't really care, but I sympathize with a little bit. It's like Dapper Day is supposed to be you're pretending you're going to Disneyland back in the day.
Well, and I think that's the thing is it just got hijacked as a like cosplay event.
Yeah.
And I can see that. Like especially people who were doing the original Dapper Days where they're like, this is my thing. Like we're trying to recreate Disneyland posters. And then now I've come dressed as the Cheshire Cat or whatever it is. It's like, okay, fun.
Yeah, and that's, great for you
Yeah.
and all that. But like we went once and it was just a hot day, but it's like I put on, the classic, the suspenders and the fedora and whatever. And Kimmy wore a nice dress and a red scarf and we were just looking dapper.
Yeah.
That was it.
Although I will say like people can do it right. Like you can do it where it's like you are the style of this character. You are this colors. Like you've chosen these colors because of a certain character. And so it's like, are you this person? It's like, oh yeah, cool for recognizing, but it's not like overt. And sometimes people are too overt and it's like, there's a fine line between Disney bounding and then like Dapper Day.
Yeah. It shouldn't take away from the dapper.
Yes. Like if you're doing that at all, then you're messing with it. But there also isn't like really a Disney bounding day. And I think that might be the part of it that like Disney bounding doesn't have a day where everybody does it. And so Dapper Day became that.
Yeah. That would be interesting. Someone start that. We have Tiki Land Day.
Adventureland Day, like
or Adventureland, right?
Adventureland Day, like Tiki Land.
So it was Tiki Day, and then that Facebook group fell apart, and then they did Tiki Land Day, and now it's Adventureland Day.
Well, and it kind of bounces. It's weird,
and it's all the same people. It's just I think it's like a respect thing. They don't want to take the other person's thing, but maybe need a bound Disney bound. I don't know. It's like bound also means going there, which is cool. Someone do it, maybe. But Ozzy writes in, "Hey Trammin, we have it so good for you. I went to Disneyland last Monday. The weather was perfect. It was about 75 degrees and warm. Unfortunately, I missed out on food and wine. I did experience Toontown, though. I did Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Let me say, it's such an awesome ride. The queue was amazing from what I saw. We did Lightning Lane for it, but from start to finish, it was amazing. Transition, 10 out of 10, bros. We ended up getting Genie Plus that day, so after Mickey and Minnie's, we hopped over to DCA, had a Lightning Lane for Grizzly River Run, and Incredicoaster. After that, we got drinks at Rita's Baja Blenders, and after that, we headed over to Disneyland. Got lunch at Golden Horseshoe. That's a Golden Horseshoe. This is interesting to see. We got the Impossible Chili Cheese Fries and the house-made chocolate chip sundae. Both were really good. After that, we had a Lightning Lane for Space Mountain, sit in line for Rise. After Rise, got dinner at Docking Bay and got the Trandoshan-style braised beef bantha. It was so good. After that, headed back to Toontown to explore some more. We finally did Roger Rabbit. It was the only ride I haven't done since Disneyland opened back up in 2021. It is still a 10 out of 10 for me. We checked out Goofy's house and Donald's boat, and I must say I miss going in Donald's boat. I thought that was cool, and the views you got up top deck were cool too. After that, we did Gadget's Go Coaster, or as it's called now, Chip and Dale's Gadget Coaster. It's still as good as before, and pretty much after that, took the train out, headed home. Overall, good day. I'll be back on May the 4th too. It should be exciting. I forgot to tell everyone, May the 4th be with you. That should have been the opening. That's what this whole point of the episode is. But sounds like a fun day. Yeah, I haven't been back on Roger Rabbit yet. It sometimes has a longer wait than the Runaway Railway.
Yeah, it also, I don't know. I've seen Roger down a lot.
Maybe that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's see. The queue on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is just spectacular.
Instant win.
The fireplace really like touched me emotionally because it's one of my favorite shorts.
Well, I feel like every single person, like you have a Mickey Mouse short that you identify, or like you have some time period with Mickey Mouse that you're like, okay, this is like cool to me. And it gives you a space for everyone in that way.
I think the thing with the fireplace is it was a prop for a character that isn't Mickey. Mm-hmm. So it was very like, whoa, I don't know. But
yeah.
And I love
interesting
Christmas.
to point that out.
Yeah, it's like it's not just, this is Mickey's costume from when he was this and one from, because his house is kind of like that, right? Yeah. It's like when Mickey was in this short or whatever. But yeah, wonderful queue. If you guys haven't done it. Definitely.
Well, and I feel like people who are like, I've done it in Florida, I don't need to do it here. It's like, go on the Disneyland version because just the ride itself is different. Like it's the same.
Not crazy
thing,
different, yeah.
But it's the pacing. It's every little subtle thing. The motion of the vehicles is different in California than it is in Florida. Like it does not feel the same at all.
I will say, just objectively, because I've just from a video, the queue in Florida is not good.
No,
you're just inside of the Chinese theater.
Yep.
That's all. No props, no posters, nothing.
Not
Mickey short posters.
Not Mickey short.
Yeah.
Nothing that has to do with the attraction.
Yeah. All right. Michelle J writes in, hey there, Kirk and Rain. I'm writing in for We Have It So Good. Sorry if this is a bit long. This is the shortest write-in today. I am writing this as we are driving back from our 2-week family vacation in California. It was amazing. We started off spending a couple days at Universal Studios Hollywood. Got lucky going on weekdays that were not crowd heavy. It just generally isn't crowd heavy. We walked on almost everything and played with the power bands in Nintendo World. After Universal, we spent a few days in Carlsbad checking out the beach and Legoland. Our second week was spent in Anaheim at the happiest place on earth. We made it in time to try some food and wine festival items and ride Soarin' over California, which we prefer. We rode everything and saw all the shows, minus Fantasmic, which was a bummer, but that didn't bring us down. My family also got to meet Kirk, which was a highlight for sure. My kid, so I handed Trammin stickers out to everyone because I have the ones from St. Trammin's Day.
Yeah.
I was just like, who wants a sticker? I think there were like 3 kids. I'm not sure. So let's see. My kids wore Trammin stickers for the rest of our trip. We also met David from Fresh Baked, but all my kids said we like the Trammin guy way more.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Thank you for adding some magic to our wonderful family vacation. We definitely have it so good. P.S. I have to agree with my kids. Meeting Kirk and Kimmy was way better than meeting any YouTubers. You guys are so sweet and personable. Thank you. I'm not one to defend YouTubers and all that, but all I'll say is, I think I saw David that day too. he's kind of working, right? You know, he's
Yeah.
recording, and I mean, he's kind of said his personality is a little different. He's very nice to people. I've heard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just like, you know, he's a little bit more reserved. We'll call it that.
I think it's the difference of like Disneyland to him is like, as much as it's a place that he enjoys, he's doing work.
Yeah,
He's
and
covering-
like,
yeah,
I've seen him on like his date night before, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything. He's
No.
eating dinner, you know. But like, you know, for us, it's like we don't have a bajillion people coming up to us ever,
No.
right? And we tell people, come say hi, right?
but that's the difference. Is also it's like you guys are podcasters. Like you're having a conversation with people, and that's just a general like an easier vibe versus just like I'm telling you information. Like, and I'm working here. You guys, when you're at Disneyland, you're not working.
No, yeah. It's
you know,
like
you're-
if you
you're having a
see
good
us, say
time.
hi and we'll meet new people. And
Yeah.
like we were walking from like, I think we were walking from Galaxy's Edge to the Mark Twain. Like that's all we were
Mhm.
doing. We had, we didn't even have a plan. So it was like real nice to see people. Really nice meeting you and your family, of course. Everyone was so nice. And you know, it's almost like, she asked like, can I get a picture? The answer is always yes. I guess, you know, people ask to be polite, and yeah, really great to be polite. But I like to reiterate, if you see us and you're comfortable, come say hi. I'll give you whatever stickers I got in my bag. You could take a picture. You could do whatever. I've had someone say, "Are you Kirk? I love your podcast. Can I have a picture?" and said bye. And if that's what they were comfortable with or all they wanted, that's great too. If you just want to wave at me from afar, I won't walk up to me. I won't come up to you and make you feel like now you must meet me. Because I've
Yeah.
heard of that too.
Yeah.
Where people are like, hey, and then they come and they're like, eh.
And now I'm in this awkward place.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I will always be excited to meet you guys. And I'm just gonna say hi, ask you about your trip or whatever. If you want, you can hug me. It's totally okay. Because I know that's a thing too. But yeah, go ahead, say hi. I'd say don't be weird, but no one's been weird yet. So
Oh, good.
yet. But yeah, so nice meeting you guys. So glad we ran into you because she messaged me on Instagram, but I don't have Instagram on my phone. That's like my whole
Oh, yeah.
annoying. I know I'm insufferable about it. And Rain sent me a screenshot of the notifications, but I had already ran into them like right before I even got that from him. So
Good.
yeah, great. I love when I get to run into people who don't come often because it's like, you know, they must think like, I'm never gonna meet this person. I've come to Disneyland once every 5 years, and maybe he'll be there. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, but I will likely be there. You know. So, Rain wrote in twice. So Rain, my co-host, writes in. And what was I gonna say? I had another line. Oh, right. I did the long thing, but it was, and I'm pretty sure he has this authority. But anyways, Rain writes in, I just went to go check out the DVC lounge on Wednesday, the quietest place in the park. Coke freestyle machines are cool, but snacks were just Cheez-Its. Got a free popcorn bucket with a refill and some other goodies, which I will bring next week. Can't wait to take you, Kirk. Can't wait to see it. Looks cool.
Yeah, the Starview Lounge.
Yeah, and they are supposedly renaming the terrace.
Fascinating. I know they get access to it now, which is they're still doing the whole like dinner like firework view from up there, which isn't linked to DVC, but the DVC lounge during the day has access to that like patio up top.
Yeah.
So you can just like go out there and like look out above Tomorrowland. I'm like, that's cool.
What is it called?
The Starview Lounge.
No, the experience.
Tomorrowland firework. Like it doesn't have like a name.
Hold on. It actually does. It's
It
not a
does?
good name. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Tomorrowland fireworks
Dining
food.
package.
Yeah, it's a Skyline Terrace.
Skyline Terrace.
So yeah, let me just look up Skyline Terrace.
Skyliner?
Renamed Disneyland. Oh, maybe that's why. Skyline Lounge?
Huh.
No, that's
Weird.
I swear I saw like Scott Gustin tweet that there's a different sign or something, but oh well.
It's still weird that it's in Launch Bay. And the
That-
bottom floor hasn't changed at all.
Well, but do you know what the building is officially called now?
No.
It's the Tomorrowland Expo Center.
Did they bring it back?
It just let me.
Because they used to call it used to be the Tomorrowland Expo Center, and then it became Star Wars Launch Bay, like proper, like that's just what it's referred to.
Let's see. Let me open up the Skyline Terrace because I believe they wrote like
But it makes me wonder, like, are they going to use that space downstairs? Like, is that the Avatar experience? They're just going to put it in there, you know?
You know what? I know exactly what to do. Magic key. What was that? Sweetheart's Night. Because you could pick up a thing. And I think it said pick it up at the Expo Center.
That's
if I don't see this
interesting.
special keepsake offered. Disneyland After Dark. Let's see. If I don't find it right now, I'm going to give it up. But I'm pretty sure they do call it that. Oh, okay. Nope. Star Wars Launch Bay. I think I've seen it called.
It used to be the Expo
Yeah.
Center, so if that language is still around, then it is. But it's right now, it's like
still
the
Launch
Starview
Bay.
Lounge is at Launch Bay. Yeah.
I want to know, is Launch Bay gutted or is it just there and not open?
It's just there, not open.
It's very weird.
Well, in Florida, it's the same thing of like, it's just an empty building.
Yeah.
Like it has all the Star Wars props and stuff there. It's just.
Yeah, this Tomorrowland
Unused.
situation is kind of getting out of hand.
Yeah, it feels like, I don't know. It's that whole thing of it's the ebb and flow of like just as they get really close to announcing something, then something happens, and now it's like not going to happen.
Yeah, and I think a big like just the Pixar dance party is a little egregious.
Yeah.
You know, it's a whole thing, but we talk about it too much.
Yeah, I feel like Starview Station is like, it's like, hey, let's take a whole bunch of like retro Tomorrowland things that people actually care about, and we'll put them in the space that then is locked behind. You have to be DVC or friends of somebody who's in DVC in order to get access. But
free stuff.
Free stuff, free Cheez-Its and Coke Freestyle, you know?
Hey, Coke Freestyle is expensive.
Yeah,
Like just fountain drinks in Disneyland are overpriced, so
that's true.
It's a value.
Something.
But I mean, you deserve a little something for falling for DVC. So
I managed to go and see it.
Oh, you did?
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see your reaction to it, because I think that when I first saw the concept art, I was like, this thing's going to be here forever. Like, they're never going to be able to get rid of this building. Now they're stuck with it. And then I go in there, I'm like, this feels a lot more temporary than I think it's supposed to be.
I got the temporary vibe from the concept art. I'm like, they're putting in an effort, but it didn't.
It's an effort, but it's not. It like, I feel like they're reusing like the hallway from like the Asgard, like the Marvel like meet and greets that they had up there. So it's like they reused a whole bunch of stuff. So it feels like, yeah, this thing could be here for like 5 years, a decade maybe, and then no more. So I don't think it's like, I wouldn't count on this being a permanent fixture of Tomorrowland.
Yeah, it's very much, it was closed.
Yeah.
So we just put something
Here,
in
now it's a usable space. They have the new tower going to the hotel, a new DVC tower happening at the Disneyland Hotel. So here's an offering that we can sell along with the hotel.
Yeah, that wasn't in the news, but they've shown videos of it now.
Yeah.
The D-shaped hallway and it looks pretty nice in there. I like it. It's a lot more of like the corporate Disney hotel look these days.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, better than the contemporary. So that one's a little rough. But anyways, I went on Friday. We finally tried the Earl of Sandwich Tavern. So I'll start with the bad. The mac and cheese burger and the BELT are not good. They got my order wrong. They overcooked the burger, but it wouldn't have been good even if it wasn't overcooked. It was just very plain. The mac and cheese, very plain. It didn't even taste like cheddar, you know, It was very whatever, overpriced. Kimmy got the sandwich. It tasted like a sandwich you can make at home, but not in a good way. Like you had the stuff in the fridge and you made the sandwich. The egg was runny, which works in thick items because it drapes over all of the other food, but it just kind of spilled onto the plate. Fries were like just frozen skinny fries. They were not even like lamplight
I'm not
fries
surprised to see it end up that way, but like I went to the tavern with Matt like a month or whatever. It was like right when it first opened, and it wasn't that bad.
What'd you get?
He got the mac and cheese burger. I got the clam chowder.
Okay. Clam chowder is a little hard to mess up, maybe.
Yeah, no, that wasn't bad. And he liked the burger. The burger was fine. I think it has to do with like they were just opening it. They literally didn't have that many people to prepare for, and so they were just they cared a little bit more in the first week than they do now.
I think I also expect more because I like wacky flavors and stuff.
Yeah,
and it looked like it was going to be like mac and cheese burger with the onions and the this and the that, and it was just very middling. But the drinks were spectacular.
Oh.
So we sat at the bar because they had just, hey, there, you just walk up to the bar. There's 2 seats right there.
Yeah.
So we sat at the bar. Shout out to Jules, who was the bartender. I asked for it's just a bar. There's no menu.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. I want a fun drink menu at Earl of Sandwich. But I ordered a lemon drop because we always joke. One of our listeners, Drink Up Disney, says, I'm in the lemon drop phase of my life. I think she's about our age. So it's like, so I ordered a lemon drop. And then bartender goes, what about a blackberry lemon drop? And I'm like, sure, go for it.
There we go.
It was amazing. It was not, I've had lemon drops. They are often very sweet, but you always hope they're not. This had a lot of good fruity flavor, but it was also like the balance. The balance of the alcohol, the lemon, not just like lemonade, like lemon.
Yeah.
Blackberry, but not like she pumped blackberry syrup in there. Let's see. You could kind of, can't really see, but there's the lemon drop.
Nice.
Very delicious. Came in a nice, I don't like the tall glasses. It came in the martini glasses with the nice base. So she also said, I can also make you a pear-tini. And it sounded too much like apple teeny. So I said, I'll go with the blackberry lemon drop. Sounds good. And then later I was like, I don't know if I want another drink. And she asked Kimmy what she wants. And Kimmy's like, oh, I don't really drink. Kimmy just kind of tries my drinks, takes a couple sips, and she's done. But like bartender kind of saw that. So it's not like you do not consume alcohol situation. She's like, I think I can make a drink you like. And she goes, I can make the pear-tini. I'm like, okay, you said pear-tini twice now. So I'll order the pear-tini. It sounds like you know what you're doing with this pear-tini. It's really good. It was really good. Very light pear flavor. There was like the light alcohol flavor that just complements the drink that like Kimmy normally doesn't like tasting, but it wasn't sweet. It wasn't like ordering a Cadillac or something. It was just a very well-balanced drink. And I was shocked because I'm never going to order anything called a something teeny because it's usually not good. But it was delicious. So shout out. And I saw white chocolate bread pudding on the menu and I had to get it. It was pretty good. It needed the ice cream that it came with, but that's the thing. If it comes with it, eat it with it. Right?
Yeah.
So
it's intended to be there.
Yeah. All right. Then Kimmy asked me what I wanted to do because I don't know. So I said Space Mountain Single Rider because of course no one was there. Walked right on. I decided to do Autopia, which we never do. She steered and I pedaled. So you know what? It was very relaxing looking around Autopia. Very chill ride. Not worth longer than what we waited, which was nothing, but that was great. We went the long way around because I like, you know what? I want a polystarch bread. So we went, got it. I already mentioned how it is. It is delicious. I recommend it. It's at the milk stand. I don't know. It might be good with a blue milk. Ran into Michelle J and family because I wanted to go to the tiki room. Everything was busy. And I'm like, I haven't done the tiki room in a while. And after we ran into them, we actually went on a night ride of the Mark Twain because there's no Fantasmic. So you can ride the Mark Twain. And it was delightful. We got one of the little chairs at the front of the boat. And then we did the tiki room. And I think on my way to Disneyland that day, I'm like, I want Disneyland. I want to feel Disneyland. And Space Mountain, some Autopia, a little bit of Galaxy's Edge, but that Mark Twain and Tiki Room really gave me that.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah, and it inspired an episode that's coming up. So, but yeah, it was just, Tiki Room is just so delightful. And it's not going to be, I know, knock on wood, I shouldn't say anything, but it's not going to be replaced with anything.
No.
It's Walt Disney's thing. It takes up no space. It is a small room. It's wonderful. It's completely charming, and I absolutely love it. And then we headed out, and I had one of the best Disney days I've had in a while.
Wonderful.
Not that any of them have been bad. This was just like fun. I had so much fun, and yeah, it was a great time. But Rain wrote in again, and he says, "Hey Trammin, my official first We Have It So Good right in ever. Brandy and I forgot that we had a reservation at 7 p.m. at night. I think this was, Saturday night," he writes. "We agreed to beat all kinds of crowds. We weren't going to even think about going until 8:30 or so. We arrived around 9 p.m. and it was a beautiful experience. We did the Grand Circle tour and then some. We got off at the New Orleans station and brought the Crocs to get onto Splash. Beautiful ride. Deserves the #1 spot as the best mountain of Disneyland. Almost everything was in working order, which was surprising. I noticed that too.
Yeah.
Got decently wet considering we were in the middle of the log, and then proceeded to grab food at Royal Street Veranda before it closed. Brandy wanted clam chowder, and I wanted steak gumbo. Clam chowder wasn't available on mobile order, so I walked up to order, even though there was a long line because of the beignets. To my surprise, the only place that has clam chowder now is Harbor Galley, and they close at 9. So I got 2 steak gumbos and 3 beignets. Gumbo was on point, but those beignets were seriously the most lukewarm beignets I've ever had. Honestly, 2 out of 10, horrible in all caps. We walked out and trammed out. Most relaxing night I've had in a while.
Nice.
The beignets are available at Hungry Bear,
Yes.
and I presume they might be better there, but I don't know.
Well, and it's only a limited time thing too.
Yeah, because we're just waiting for Tiana's Palace
Yeah.
to open up, right? Thanks for writing in, Rain. That was fun. So you said something about chimichangas.
So I was going to bring that up in our last segment.
Oh, in our last segment.
Yeah.
Do you have any little Disneyland thing, or are you just always there and you're always having a good time?
I'm always there.
Yeah, always there. Okay.
Always.
Freddie, what time is it?
It's
Pizza time.
It's time for one last bite. Freddie, as always, what is the best food you ate this week?
so I have been known to love the breakfast chimichanga.
Ooh.
And finally, it is coming back. They actually had the ship to shore, the little
Mm-hmm.
stand that's across from Big Thunder Mountain, has been closed for refurbishment for like the last 2 weeks.
Oh.
So all of the chimichangas that are normally sold there have been moved over. Also, maybe not the turkey legs, but they were moved over to Stage Door Cafe.
That makes sense. Now.
So Stage Door Cafe has been the home to the chimichanga in Frontierland for a while now, but I don't believe they were doing the breakfast chimichanga. And now finally it's coming back with Ship to Shore. And it should be back as of now. So that's good.
Did they change anything there, or?
No, I think it was just a general refurbishment type thing. In terms of drinks, I've been really enjoying the Jungle Julep that you can get at Bengal Barbecue.
Oh.
Just perfectly refreshing on those hot days that we've been having lately. Finally, this week it's kind of cooling off, but when it was starting to get up there and the temperature, it was really good to get one of those.
I feel like I got to give Bengal Barbecue another chance. Just
Yeah.
like, these people always write in about it, and I just never.
It's just on the go. It's so easy, and you just get.
But
it
if you're
tied to
hungry, you
tail.
just go anywhere else, right?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah.
And any good sweets? Or you kind of.
You know what I did have? I went and got a chocolate chip cookie from Main Street, and that was actually pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, I just had. I was like, I just want to see how that tastes.
Listen, a chocolate chip cookie is my favorite dessert on the
Yeah.
planet. Sometimes that's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get the salsa verde with the chimichanga?
I do not.
Do you not like it, or have you not
I
had it?
haven't had it.
I haven't had it with it because they didn't have it when I was there. Everyone says it's like phenomenal.
Hmm.
And
I'll
I
have to
don't
try
think it's
that.
spicy. So I don't know. I'm never there early enough because when I went, they had the salsa packets, which
Yeah.
they're fine. But yeah, apparently that the salsa verdes. I've dipped some popcorn in the salsa verde. So, long time ago. Good stuff. So for me, I actually made burgers.
Really?
Yeah, I went to Trader Joe's like weeks ago. I go every week, but I went
Yeah.
with Kimmy, and she just picked up the fries, the waffle fries. I'm like, that'll be a surprise tool that'll help us later. And I threw it in the freezer. And this weekend, we were going to hang out in Laguna. It was gloomy, so we just came here instead. And yeah, I made just the Trader Joe's burger. Like they sell the 4 patties and the 4 brioche buns.
Mhm.
I made it in a cast iron skillet on the grill because it's the best. It is the best way to make a burger. It was amazing. Very simple. Just seasoned with the Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. If you don't know what that is, just buy it. It's good stuff with some just classic sharp cheddar
Nice.
and one little slice of beefsteak tomato, some mayo on the buttered brioche bun. No, I didn't need the lettuce. And I had some bacon in the fridge. I'm like, I threw it in the skillet with everything else. Like, why not?
Perfect.
Why not? And I never give my own food of the week, but it's going to that because it did not go to Earl Sandwich. But the drink will go to the Blackberry Lemon Drop. Honorable mention to the Peritini. Great drinks. Shout out to Jules once again. And the sweet, I'm going to give it to the white chocolate bread pudding because it was awesome. The polystarch bread was like close, but like a hot dessert with cold ice cream on it is just,
You're not going to be able to beat
you're
that.
not going to beat it. You're not
Yeah.
going to beat it. So that was my number one. So, Freddy, it is now time for one last fight. Garlic puffs or chocolate popcorn with crate salt.
Oh, easily the chocolate popcorn with great salt.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was going to be that. The garlic puffs, I can imagine being people's favorite, though. They just punch you in the face with everything that they are.
Just, you want some garlic? How about a lot of garlic?
Yeah, and it kind of singes your whole mouth, scratches you up. It's like salt. I mean, not salt. It's like sand.
It's like, that's sand, and this is salt.
Yeah. And I got to give it to the popcorn, of course. It tastes like it's Cocoa Puffs. No, Cocoa Pebbles.
Yeah. I mean, Cocoa Pebbles is probably the right one there.
With that. And then every now and then you get the extra glazed one with a big thing of red salt.
The fact that one is so well done makes me really excited about the kettle corn that's coming.
Yeah. It's because kettle corn, it can't be like Boy Scout kettle corn, you know?
No.
So I got some.
I love kettle corn. And finally, the fact that you could get fresh kettle corn and it's not just like in a bag on Main Street or something like that.
That's my thing. When I go to like
Excited.
the fair and it's like, here's some bags of kettle corn. I'm like, I need to see the kettle.
Yep.
I need to see
I
them.
need to know that this is fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
So yeah, we agreed. Rain and I have not. I don't think we've agreed on one yet.
Wow.
But I couldn't think of a good one this time. It had to be Galaxy's Edge. What would be two things you can't decide between? Do you, off the top of your head? If you don't know,
yeah, I'm not going to be quick on that one.
that's okay. What? No, we'll just end it there. Well, yeah.
Undecided.
Yeah. The garlic puffs
Yeah.
are like sand. They are rough. They are coarse. And I mean, they get all over your fingers.
Oh,
And with that.
Oh. And with that, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you all next week.
See you real soon. Bye.
Thanks for traveling with us today, and we hope you have a happy and memorable visit to the Disneyland Resort. Please lower your head, watch your step, and exit to the driver's right-hand side only.